oh my God, not protagonist. That is nowhere near the word. When you delay doing something you're supposed to do, you are a
Protagonist.
We in. Chris and Kyle Show.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to the Chris and Kyle Show. He is Chris. I am Kyle. You feeling good? Ready to
I'm
go?
feeling great, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, ready.
Great.
Ready. I feel like this is gonna be a doozy of an episode.
Yeah, there's a lot. We got a lot to get into. Some fun stuff to talk about. Do you want to just dive right in? Start out with our little writer's corner of the week?
Let's do it.
Writer's corner. Graphic here. There's no graphic.
There won't be a
There's
graphic.
nothing there.
I'm too lazy for that.
Yeah. I don't know how to do it.
And I know that you're not going to do it.
I don't know how to
do
I don't know how to
graphic.
do it. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
No, you can go first.
Okay.
Because I don't want to.
Okay. So, we are recording on, what is this? The 16th. So, yesterday was the official halfway point of NaNoWriMo. Meaning that if you are keeping up with the words, which is not the full, it's okay if you're not, you would be at 25,000 words. On November 14th was the first day of the month I didn't write anything. I felt for the first time, like the day before especially, and maybe 2 days before, where I was just kind of like just trying to grind it out. And I was just like, I know what's coming out is not good.
Right.
And it just feels really hard for the first, because I said, I think last time, once I sit down with the idea, I've been able to churn out the 1,600 pretty easily. And I think on the 13th, I wrote like 900 words. And I was like, ooh. And it felt like hard to get even those out. And I was like, uh-oh. So I took the 14th, I just took off. I was, you know what? I'm just going to recharge for a day, watched a bunch of stuff, TV shows and stuff, just kind of recharged, took in some stuff, didn't put anything out. Went in the next day on the 15th. I was like, all right, I got to catch up to the halfway point if I can today. I wrote 3,500 words yesterday to get me past the 25,000 mark.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was like banging them out. I felt great.
So, like, in the sports world, the 14th for you is like an active recovery day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you specifically seek out things to watch that were sort of in the same
Nope.
tone?
We're going to talk about what I watched later because it's my shout out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Do you have anything else?
It's like completely nothing, like not connected at all. The
All right.
tone. Yeah. Actually, I think just creatively speaking, it doesn't have to be I think consuming things, to use a weird term, you watching, reading, anything can recharge your writing ability. It doesn't have to be in the same vein, I don't think.
Well, I think it's really important as an artist to just have constant input and output.
Yeah.
Just constant input and output.
Yeah.
Like, and people are very will shit on either side, like, if all you're doing is watching movies, then you're not getting better as a writer. And it's like, well,
you can learn a lot from
watching.
Yeah.
Like Quentin Tarantino's style is specifically from all of the movies that he has watched. And Jordan Peele brought this up when he was talking to I forgot who he was talking to on the set of Get Out, but somebody told him, one of the actors told him, like, man, directing is just taste. Like directing is just being able to know what you like and sort of trying to restructure that in a way.
That's interesting.
And I thought that was interesting. But like, you can't have a taste unless you've had that
unless
input.
you've eaten.
Unless you've eaten, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like the healthiest option as an artist is to have that consistent input and output. And obviously, like, some days are just input days, some days are just output days, whatever it is.
Yeah, like that day 2 days ago for me was input. I didn't do anything all day. I sat on the couch and just chilled.
Yeah, and I would say I'm the majority of my life has been 90% input.
Input days, yeah.
But it was really important for me to do that because since we started this podcast, I mean, we put out 3 hours of content a week.
Yeah, at least.
I don't know if you think about it like that, but we put out 3 hours of content a week of just us talking.
Yeah.
And And there's a lot of times where I'm like, do I have anything left to say? You know,
Yeah.
like, am I? Like,
and then we come back the next week and we record another 3 hours.
Yeah. And but that like, but there are certain times where I'm like, man, I need more input. I need to.
Well, yeah, certainly for what we're doing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm constantly trying to keep up on, just like the announcements and news of things that are going on, and just looking for things that I think would be interesting to talk about on the show.
Well, yeah, but not just like.
And that's outside of watching things.
Yeah, and not just topical shit like what are the movie trailers that we're going to talk
Which
about
we'll get into because it was one of those weeks.
Our episodes or like what movies do I need to watch, but like taking like personal inventory of myself as well. I don't know if how much you think about that, like but like it makes me proactively try to articulate my introspection more.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, like you'll think about how am I going to talk about this now?
Well, because it forces me to journal more because I want to
literally journal.
Like
Okay.
before I go to sleep at night, like literally journaling out my
Okay.
ideas and
That's cool.
like fears and.
I've never kept a journal. I feel like I should.
Yeah.
I think it's something that everyone probably should do.
Yeah.
I've never done it my whole life.
It's super helpful.
And I'm not talking about like a writer's journal where you put your ideas. I'm talking about just like a life journal.
Yeah, life journal. Like yeah, I think it's important to take inventory of
That's cool.
Of your life, of your fucking mental journey and emotional shit.
How is all of this tied into your NaNoWriMo experience?
I haven't written anything in like a week. I knew going into this, especially like the first 2 weeks were going to be the hardest for me to keep up with NaNoWriMo because of is that the coffee maker?
I think so.
Hold on.
Pause.
Jesus.
There is a loud sound.
Okay, what was I talking about?
I asked you about how NaNoWriMo was going, and you said that you haven't written in like a week.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you said that you knew the first couple weeks were going to be the hardest for you.
Yes. Okay. So with everything that's going on in my life, as far as getting out of
timing,
the timing of it, getting out of the Navy, having to move to LA, starting off this podcast, it's just I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I knew that the first thing that was going to, as far as priorities go, that was going to be the fourth out of those four things.
Yeah.
But I also knew that at the end of November, I was going to get a lot more time because I'm on leave right now.
Oh, is that official?
Yeah.
I
had my first, I had my last work day of the Navy today. I'm going to have to go back and do paperwork and shit like that occasionally, but I'm essentially on my own time now.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So I'm gonna have a lot more time to write and do other shit now, and hopefully I'll be able to make up. I don't think that I'm going to hit.
It's gonna be hard.
I'm not gonna hit 50,000
writing
words.
what
There's
300 words a day.
There's no
really
way.
Hard.
But if I write like fucking 1,000 words a day, I'll be happy. I'll be ecstatic.
Yeah, I don't think that you should change your output now to try to catch the goal. I think just try to keep.
If it happens, it happens. That would be dope.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
But
there's nothing wrong to be said if you get to the 50,000 words by the end of December, because like we've talked about every week, I think it's not about the goal is superficial. It's about the intention of the goal. And I think it's helped me a ton because I mentioned I hadn't been writing for months and months and months before November. And now I'm sitting down every day and banging out really, I mean, I think I had that huge day yesterday, and I think I probably wrote for a total of 2 hours.
Yeah, you guys are kind of like seeing and hearing opposite ends of the spectrum as far as NaNoWriMo goes. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm completely off, but you're sort of...
I'm kind of thinking about that every day as it like, because sometimes I'll get to like, it'll be 10 p.m. and be like, I haven't written today.
Yeah.
Especially on the weekends when I work really long days at work. So, I'm at work, I wake up and I go to work. I don't get home till like 6 or something. And I'm like, and then I'm tired and I want to watch, the night football game or a basketball game that's on. And then it's 8 or 9. And then I'm like, all right, now, and then I get to 10. I'm like, I haven't written it all today. I feel like I have to keep up and to keep that sort of parallel going.
Are you normally writing at night?
I've written almost everything at night. Yeah.
Okay.
Almost. Because normally, I don't know. There's just some. I want to get into the habit of when I wake up and I don't have to go right to work. If I wake up, I want to be in the habit of exercising and writing before I do anything else.
Right.
That's where I want to be as a person. I'm working on getting there. I think that I wake up and exercise way more often than I wake up and write. And I think I would still do it in that order. I think I would wake up, exercise, write.
Right.
Because, wake up, go do something, take a shower, sit down and write. It just makes sense to me. So I have a habit of waking up and then, catching up on TV shows from the night before or whatever before I write. And I want to get past that to where I just write during the day. And I do. I've done it. I've done days where I write in the day. It's just I want to do it more often, where I'm not waiting until that time crunch. But also, I feel like that the desperation of the time crunch fuels me. Where I'm like, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the idea of oh my God, not protagonist. That is nowhere near the word. When you delay doing something you're supposed to do, you are a
Protagonist.
No, you jerk. Oh my God.
When you're delaying,
Like you write your school paper at the last minute. What are you?
Procrastinator.
Yeah. Jesus. I feel like there is a power to procrastination that it, when the deadline comes, you like feel that pressure to deliver. And I'm feeling that on like a small scale any night that I'm writing like after 10 o'clock.
Right.
Cause I'm like, well, it probably takes me on average like an hour and a half, 15 minutes to get the word count out, which I don't know if that's fast or not. I don't know if when I'm writing really quickly or if that's normal. I'm not sure. But, again, I'll go through parts and days where I know it's not good, where I'm like putting it out and I'm like, this is just getting me from point A to point B. And I think that coincided, that those few days where I was feeling that really strongly. I think it coincided with a part of the story where it was literally like, all right, how do I get from this cool thing to the next cool thing I know I want to happen? And how do I make it interesting? And I was just trying to force it out. And I think, when it's all said and done and I go back, I know there's going to be things I have to change and take out and fix, which I think that's true with every book ever written. No one ever writes the perfect thing on the first try.
Right.
And I think that's a big roadblock that people go through when they start wanting to write, and they go, oh, I have this idea that I love and I'm super passionate about, and they start writing. They reach that first hitch where they start feeling like this
is garbage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's that thing where I think what I'm learning through this process especially is you just have to learn to accept the garbage and take it out later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
accept the garbage and realize that you're going to sift through the garbage and make that garbage into gold, hopefully.
Yeah. And for the most part, you're going to be able to throw most of that garbage out, especially if you're discovery writing the way I am, where how, when I went into the story with no idea where it was going, I just had the general idea. So I'm going to have to sift through bad stuff. And then when it's all said and done and I have the actual skeleton of the story done and set, I can then go back and figure out, this would fit better if I did it this way because later this happened. And you know what I mean? Yeah. I just think in terms of that, I think getting through the rough parts is actually super important.
I feel like comparison it seeps into the practice of writing a lot because you're constantly looking at other people's finished works, and you're like, well, my shit is shit right now compared to that. But you're comparing their final draft versus your
like they've
first.
Probably written that story up to 20 times now, through first drafts and revisions and editor overlooks and all these things. There's so much that goes into writing, especially a novel, in that sense of just refining the product. That if you compare your in-process thing that needs to be refined to the diamond, you're never going to see the end game of where your thing can go.
Yeah, true.
So are you looking next week? You think you'll have sort of more...
I think that this upcoming week, I'm going to have a little bit of work Monday, and we're going to record on Monday as well. but I'm gonna have a lot more free time now for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The only things that I'm really worried about is like finalizing my Navy shit, which I mean I'm pretty much done with it for the most part now. Moving to LA, fucking dealing with medical shit with the Navy. There's like probably the bulk of my work over the next.
You want to talk about LA a little bit?
Yeah.
So we were told by a listener that it would be cool if we talked about ourselves more often and not just our ideas.
Yeah.
So leaning into that a little bit, we drove up to Los Angeles last week and we went apartment hunting, and it was pretty cool.
Literally apartment hunting.
Yeah, one apartment. We went to one
apartment.
apartment and decided, yeah, we're good.
I did my due diligence as far as looking at all of the different places online.
It basically became a
first.
matter of, let's make sure it doesn't look like we're going to die here.
Yeah.
And if not,
because I was like, okay, this is the perfect price. It's the perfect location. And it looked like a good neighborhood.
Yeah.
Fucking everything was within walking distance. There's a park
cool.
and a library within walking distance. There's comedy clubs within walking distance. There is
grocery store, Chick-fil-A.
Movie theaters within walking distance. It's like right in the middle of West LA.
Yeah, I really like that.
West
I really
Hollywood.
like that we are sort of going to be in that realm, because just that little taste of that LA traffic, the things that you've heard about LA traffic are very real.
Yeah.
That is some nonsense, dog.
It's awful.
It took us 2.5 hours to drive up there from San Diego, and it took us 4.5 to get back.
Yeah.
Whew, that was brutal.
Yeah, but we also drove in a really bad time in the afternoon.
Yeah, when we left. Well, we were gonna go try to see A Star Is Born, and then we missed the time.
Yeah,
so
because we were looking at the park, because the park was dope.
Yeah, the park was cool. Did you? I thought kind of a funny thing about our mini LA experience was going to Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, it sucks.
And getting roasted. You got way more roasted than I did.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, so my big problem. So there are people that come up to you on Hollywood Boulevard that have rap CDs.
Yep.
And they will come up to you and
put it in your hand.
And they will literally just place the rap CD in your hand and then introduce themselves to you, and it's very, very strange.
And your natural reaction as a person is just to grab it, just it's in your
grab
hand,
them and
then
talk
just
to
be
them.
Be polite to them.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
But if you're polite, then they'll give you the CD, and then afterwards they'll be like,
"You got to pay me for it."
Well, no. Well, so how did they phrase it to you?
Well,
they
first he was like, "My name is blah de blah. I do this. I make music. I make West Coast rap."
Right.
And then I forget the exact phrasing, but he was basically like, "Usually people give me $20 for a CD."
Oh,
and
really?
I was like, "What?"
See, you lucked out because you didn't have cash.
I didn't have cash on me. I had $1 in cash on me.
So I was like, yeah, I'll give you a tip. No big deal. And
yeah,
I
that's
pulled
how
it
you
out,
phrase it, like a tip,
and as I was looking at it, I forgot that I had a bunch of 20s.
Because you had just gone to an ATM.
Because I had just gone to an ATM, and I knew that I needed to have cash on me to give to my buddy.
Yeah.
And I knew as soon as I pulled it out, I was
you were like, "Oh no, they can see it all."
And then they were like, "Oh, you can give me a 24." And I was like, "Bro, I am not giving you a $20 bill for a CD that
I've
you
never
gave
listened to
me.
by
I'm
a
not,
random dude."
Yeah,
on the
that
street.
yeah. Well, and what
you buy an album on iTunes for $2.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
So I gave, and then this dude was trying to tell me to give him $20, and I was like, "I'm not giving you $20." And then, but
another
two of his friends, 2
guys on you.
Yeah,
right?
there was 2 of his friends, and they were like, "Oh, I have you can have my CD too." And the other one was like, "Oh, I produced both their CDs," and I was like, "All right, okay, no, this is not happening right now." And I was like, I'll give you $5 and I'll give you $5. That's it. And then as I was walking away, another dude was like, "Oh, fucking you can give me $2 extra. Have this for free." And then he was like, "Have this for free." And I was like, "No, I don't." I was like, "No." And then he still tried to hand it to me, and then he was like, "You can have it for free. You can have it for free," and put it in my hands as I was walking away. And I was like, "Dude, I don't want this." And he was like, it's fine. You can have it free." And I was like, "Okay, whatever. Just get me out of this situation."
Yeah.
And as I kept walking away, and he was like, "You can give me a couple bucks for it though, right?" And I was like, No. It's just a huge scam. If you walk down Hollywood Boulevard and people try to
just don't accept anything put in your hand.
Yeah.
I kind of, the buskers are kind of cool. Like that dude that was singing was cool.
He was really good.
And he was really good. And then there's people, like there's a dude in the Spider-Man costume. There's people you take pictures with. And if you take a picture, you should tip them and stuff like that. But the idea, there's a line drawn, and these dudes crossed that line of like, you can't just put stuff in people's hands and then demand payment for it.
That's ridiculous.
I tried to give the CD back to the dude, and he was like, "No, you can't return that to me." And I was like,
"Yeah, excuse
lucky
me?"
for me, I pulled out my wallet and I literally only had $1, and I was like, "I can give you $1, dude. I'll just to get you out of my face."
Yeah.
And he looked like real mad about it, and then he
saw
you.
It's a fucking scam.
He saw you, and he was like, "Get him to help you." And I was like, "I don't know him."
Yeah.
And he was like, "What? You were?"
Stupid.
I was like, "I don't know him, man." And I booked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. We got the. What you said in the car, you were like, "You got to get got once," and you learn your lesson.
If we walk down Hollywood Boulevard again and somebody comes up to me with a CD, I'm gonna James Harden it.
Yep. Like you're guarding James Harden.
Like I'm guarding James Harden, and I'm gonna put my hands behind my back, and I'm gonna look down at it and be like, "Hey, what's that?" And then we can have a conversation. That's fine.
Yeah.
You can talk to me all you want, right? But if
Even then,
I'm not gonna
like,
take the CD.
Even then, I don't think I would do that. I think I would pull the what I head down, headphones in thing where you just kind of. I know if I even try to connect with you as a conversation, you're not gonna have a real conversation with me about
and
this.
that's
You're
fine.
just gonna try to
and that's fine.
me to pay
But like,
for it.
but I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna grab it. And if like as soon as he tells me about his music, whatever, that's cool. That's fine. I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not. I don't want your CD.
don't want it,
That's
yeah.
fine. But like, I'm gonna be like, did you want a tip? I'm gonna ask them that. Because I've heard of people just giving out CDs like all the time for free.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you expect. And
Just
that's what I
in an
expect.
attempt to spread the music.
Yeah, fucking like J. Cole did it. You know,
the dude that gave me his CD was like, he's like,
I used
my
to pass
goal
out
is-
music.
he
I
said-
still pass
yeah,
out
I still
music.
Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
But the dude that gave me his CD was like, my goal is to, sell 1 million copies of my CD, and this is my 3,000. He gave me a random number, and I was like, good for you, man.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
Yeah. But it's garbage.
Yeah, it was not cool. It was overall, I had a good day. Like I enjoyed the experience of going and visiting and seeing the area and just kind of getting that small taste of the vibe of it. But that specifically was uncool.
Yeah, it was uncool. But and now like I am that much more discouraged to listen to your music.
Yeah,
It might
like we
been
have all the
awful.
CDs are in your car, and we haven't listened to any of them.
I'll throw them out. I
Yeah.
don't give it. I'm
Yeah.
on principle not going to listen to your music now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
it was a cool
that
day
was-
though. There's that dope Jimi Hendrix art.
Yeah, so we live like pretty much across the street from a guitar center.
Yeah.
Which is pretty dope. And on the side of the guitar center.
There's really cool street art of Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, and it looks
That's
yeah,
tight.
really, really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. So that we'll be getting. This will look different in like 2 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're probably going to be switching around a lot of the aesthetics of the show as far as us sitting on a couch.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to go more towards facing each other and having a normal conversation that way.
Which I mean, we try to do it from this
Yeah.
angle, but it's like.
But yeah, man, I'm fucking really excited. I'm really
Super
nervous.
I'm not nervous. I don't know. I'm weird though. I don't get nervous about things. I just don't. Like I've been
Yeah.
like that since I was a little kid. I remember when I was in 8th grade, I was auditioning for All-State Band on saxophone. And there was like a couple prepared pieces you had to have, and you had to know your scales, which I did not know my scales. And I remember being in like the waiting area for my audition, and my mom was like freaking out. She was so nervous for me. She was like pacing, and like her foot was kicking whenever she was sitting. And I was like, Mom, what's wrong with you? And she was like, why aren't you nervous? And I was like, what is there to be nervous about? Like I do this every day at school. Like I know how to do the thing I'm doing. And she was like, I'm just being nervous enough for the both of us, I guess. And I've just always been like that, where I don't get nervous about things.
so you never get performance anxiety?
No.
Really?
Playing saxophone?
I'm-
God, no.
Well, what about other things? Playing sports or anything like that? Really?
I never played like a position of spotlight enough to get that for sports, I don't think. Like, I feel like if you're a quarterback is different than if you're a tight end.
Okay, right.
So for sports, for me, I was always, like a tight end or a fullback or a defensive end.
Right.
That never even occurred to me. Saxophone, though, I was very much in the spotlight for things. But again, it was just like it's like, no, this is what I do. I'm good at this. Like, why do I have to be nervous about anything? I know I can do it. Trying to think. I never got nervous public speaking.
You get nervous around girls?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
in like high school and stuff.
Well,
no,
just girls you like
normal people. No, like I can talk to anyone if someone walks up to me. So I get weird. I get like kind of social anxiety
right
in big groups of people. I don't like being in big groups of people I don't know.
Because it makes you uncomfortable.
But weirdly, if there was like a stage and I was on it with those same people and they were all there
to watch you
for me, I'd be fine.
So we've talked about stand-up comedy before, and you said that
stand-up comedy. I'm not afraid of stand-up comedy because I'd be afraid to do it. I wouldn't know how to prepare stand-up comedy. Like I don't think I'd be good at it.
Huh?
In terms of building a set and stuff like that. I think if I was given, like, here's the material for 5-minute stand-up set, I could go do it. I think the idea of bombing is kind of scary.
Okay.
The idea of like going up there and saying your joke, how about airplane food, and then no one laughs. That's like a scary idea. But to me, I don't know. I'm very much like I'll tackle things as they come kind of person. I always have been.
Right.
So to me, it'd be like, well, if I was bombing, I would have to figure out how to bomb while I was bombing. It's not. I don't like think about it ahead of time like that.
Right. Yeah, like. I'm on the opposite end as far as like performance anxiety and fucking so I think that one of the reasons I was so awful at basketball, aside from me being 5'8" and white, was just the fact that like I was so fucking nervous anytime that I played.
Yeah.
I couldn't get out of my own head.
You're much more exposed playing basketball than other sports.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't know how to deal with that. That's why like whenever there was organized basketball, I froze.
That's interesting.
But whenever I played anything like when I played football and I was on defense and I knew that people weren't really focused on me, I was completely fine.
Yeah.
I think that like out of all of the other than wrestling, I think that
Did you get it for wrestling?
Yes.
I feel like wrestling is a bit less of a spectator sport, so maybe it's not as strong.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And plus usually at, I mean, it depends on the format. Like if you're at a tournament, there's multiple.
There's so many matches going on.
There's so many matches going on at the same time. But if it's
you reach the finals though.
But if it's the finals, there's still matches going on.
That's true.
But if it's a dual meet, I mean that's one mat.
Oh, okay.
So but I also felt more in control in wrestling.
And it's just you.
And it's just me, and I knew that I was pretty good. I had more confidence with.
So you with wrestling were kind of like me with saxophone,
right?
Where you kind of knew you could do the thing you were supposed to.
And I knew that the work was done.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I think is if you've put in that work. And it's weird because I don't like reflect on my time playing saxophone through middle school and high school and think about how much work I put in. It was literally it was a class at school, so I played every day.
Yeah.
I hated practicing at home. Like I never did that.
Yeah.
Never. I was just, to toot my own horn, I was pretty good at saxophone, just kind of naturally. But yeah, it is a sense of just putting that time in every day gives you that sense of sort of you've earned the ability you have. That's kind of interesting. Haven't thought about that.
That was like a kind of a big tangent.
Yeah.
I feel.
I've also never thought about that idea. Like, why do I get nervous in big groups? If I know if I was like performing for a big group, I wouldn't care. I don't know. That's kind of a weird thing.
Do you feel like it's because it's more chaotic? There isn't as much of a structure?
Maybe. I think part of it is I don't like imposing myself on anybody. I feel like so say we were at a party, right? And I didn't know anybody. I just knew you. You brought me to a party with, Navy people that I didn't know or something. And I would feel super weird just walking up to people I don't know and introducing myself and trying to have a conversation. I just cannot wrap my mind around doing that with people I don't know. But I'm fine, if you sat down with a friend of yours and we just talked for a while. That's easy. Or like meeting people at work is easy because I have to talk to them because we're working together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a different sort of, I don't know, setup. Just the idea of imposing my presence on people makes me uncomfortable.
You don't think that, like, do you feel like it's imposing your presence on people, or is it like, I don't know how to articulate
Well,
this.
I think of it that way because I know that if I'm somewhere where I don't feel super comfortable and someone I don't know walks up to me and just starts talking to me, that 90% of the time I don't want to have the conversation they're trying to have, and I'm like, please leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather sit in this corner with my phone than talk to someone I don't know about something I'm not interested in.
True.
That's me 100%. So I feel like if I'm the person approaching someone, I'm then the person that I don't want talking to me.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
So I think it comes kind of from that, and not liking just talking to people that come up to me at different things.
But also like with work, right? You don't mind like socializing with people because there's a different reason for everyone being there.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas like if both of us showed up to a
there's
party,
this weird sort of united front of like we all have to be here to make money and we have to survive it together.
yeah. And also on top of that, like, because I get this with work too. I mean, I feel like anybody gets this with work. You have that obligation, but the social interactions are what make that obligation a little
bearable.
Yeah, it makes it bearable.
Certainly. And you can build from this common ground of, when I first show up to a new restaurant, it's always, where did you come from? Why are you here? And it's just the basic things. And you build up this baseline of just, I know this much about everybody and everybody knows this much about me. And then the people that kind of stand out and are you interact more fluidly with for whatever reason, you become closer with. It's just kind of it's a way more easy to navigate social environment for me than showing up to a party or going out to a bar. That just makes me so uncomfortable.
And those are also things that are kind of outside of your interest too. Like that's not shit that you normally just do.
Nope.
Like you don't drink.
Not
so
really.
Like bars and parties aren't really
Not
your
really.
scene.
I don't not drink. I just only drink rarely.
Yeah, you do drink, but you barely. Ever
barely.
drink.
One of my things is like I don't like paying for my own alcohol. That's sort of like a gauge. Because to me, I'm like, that's not worth my money.
Okay.
Like, wow, what were we? Were we just watching something together where they talked about being drunk and how it wasn't worth it? What was I just watching? There was a funny quote in something I just watched, but I can't remember what it was. Where they basically were like, yeah, like the experience of alcohol is like pain and everything. I forget the way he said it, but it was like everything hurts and you forget it and it's not worth it. I was like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like it's just like any time that I have drank during an event, in hindsight, I've never looked back and been like, that was better because I was drinking. That's never happened to me.
Okay.
I feel like I'm equally capable of having a good time sober as I am when I'm drunk.
Okay.
Plus, I've only been like full on drunk like one time.
Exactly. You haven't had enough occasions where that
I've been tipsy several times, but like I've only full on drunk one time. And that was because our friend Jacob made it his life's work
to
get me drunk on my birthday.
Yeah, I don't think you've had enough of those types of events in order to really say that. Because I feel like there's been plenty of times where like I'm like
I was more fun because I had
not
some alcohol.
you.
No,
not
I'm
you.
saying as you. Chris was more fun because he had some alcohol in his system.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's not always like it doesn't have to be that causal thing, and it can be correlative.
I had a good time.
I had a good time, and there's a good chance that the alcohol played into that. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's just the nature of alcohol. You know, it takes away your what's the word? Your inhibitions. Mm-hmm. And I don't like that feeling. I don't like the feeling of not being in control of what I'm maybe saying or doing or whatever fully. I mean, you are kind of, but
I've never.
You just feel a little bit more loose, you know.
Yeah,
A little more out there.
I don't really get the whole, like, you get drunk and then you just completely become another person. Like,
No, I
it's
don't
like,
think
it's like
I
a
don't think
werewolf
that's entirely
thing.
true. No.
Yeah, I don't.
I think
really
it just
that
makes you a
happens.
sort of a little bit more loose version of yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
You're a little more willing to do the things that you wouldn't do if you were not drunk.
Yeah, I agree. I can agree with that. But I can also I can be incredibly drunk and still text just fine. Like I have no problem with
Motor functions?
with motor functions. Like I'll get dizzy and like I don't want to
Move?
move a lot when I do get drunk. But yeah, like as far as speaking, and it's hard to tell that I am drunk on the outside, I would say, until I start throwing
You
up.
think from the inside.
I've had people tell me
okay,
before,
okay.
like, are you drunk at all right? And I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
I'm really feeling it.
That's the other thing with me is historically, it has always taken more alcohol than I really want to consume to get me to that place.
Right.
Because I am a larger person, so scientifically it takes more. On top of that, I have done less damage to my liver over time than other people, so it takes more.
Yeah, I'm kind of a lightweight in that
I am
sense.
the opposite of a lightweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
Plus, on top of all of that, I just hate the taste of almost all alcoholic beverages. Just hate it. I think alcohol is disgusting. I don't like any beer. I don't like liquor. If you can dress something up in some sweet fanciness, I like it. I can drink a cider.
Yeah. I think that there's like when people are saying that they like the taste of alcohol, I think that it's one of two things, and or it could be both in combination or exclusive to themselves. But I think that people are either lying or it's like it's an acquired taste.
It's definitely. Well, that was one of the big things. Was like,
you get
the
used
first
to
like drink I ever had or whatever, and our friend was like, "You'll get used to it," and I was like,
Yeah.
"No, I won't. I don't want to get used to it. It's gross."
right.
And I think that there's a line there that I drew that most people don't draw, where they're like, "I'll go through the grossness because I want to get to the place where I'm having fun and drunk."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I don't need that."
Because even like throughout the course of getting drunk, the beer starts to taste better. At least like the grossness of it starts to dwindle. But as you get older, your fucking taste buds change. Like
That's what I've been told, but I'm still super picky.
Yeah, but like,
I'm trying to eat spicier foods. That's my newest sort of adventure in taste bud growth.
Yeah, and it almost fucked you over the other night.
Last night, I ate that pad thai. Listen, I just don't understand the Thai heat system, I guess. I was told by several people, multiple different people, that I just didn't understand the system. Because I thought, they said, how hot do you want it? And I was like, what's the scale? And they were like 1 to 10. And I first said, that seems excessive for a heat scale, 1.
That is so specific.
That is so specific. And then I rightfully thought 5 would be average because that's how math works. Mm-hmm. So I said, I'm feeling a little frisky. Give me a 6. Mm-hmm. Just above average. It was not above average heat. It was very hot.
Nope.
I was burning up. Burning up. Apparently, in Thai heat systems, a 6 is very high. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know.
You live and you learn, dude.
Yeah. Just like us having to pay random dudes for their CDs we didn't want, I now know not to order a 6th level heat at a Thai place.
Sure. You want to talk about movies, dude?
Yeah, I always want to talk about
dude,
movies.
there's a lot of movie shit that I want to talk about.
I think we had, for the first time since like our first episode we ever recorded, we had a huge trailer week where a bunch of stuff dropped for movies that are coming out that made me excited.
Okay. Before we get into trailers, I do want to talk about 2 things.
Okay.
2, kind of 3 things.
Okay.
All right. So, the first thing, I watched a movie called Sleepaway Camp.
Okay.
Sleepaway Camp, I heard about from a podcast that I listened to called The Film Vault, which is actually like it's actually like my favorite podcast. Period.
This is your favorite podcast. You take that back.
Not really. But yeah, it's obviously a podcast about movies, but they have brought up Sleepaway Camp, and it's been kind of enigmatic for me, because every time that they talk about it on that podcast, they're sort of stepping around eggshells, because they are constantly referencing this twist that happens at the end.
They don't want to spoil it.
What Sleepaway Camp is, I didn't write down what the year that it actually came out, but it's like early 80s, maybe late 70s.
Oh, okay.
But it's a very campy horror movie that it has all of the trappings of a campy horror movie that you would think takes place at a summer camp. You have young kids that are getting bullied. You have counselors that are fucking each other. You have a murderer that comes into the camp. In this movie, you don't know who the murderer is. But this murderer starts picking off people that are sort of like the biggest assholes of the camp.
Okay.
That are sort of like doing the most bullying, or like you could tell like they're the most immoral people at the camp. And also you have like this camp counselor that's like trying to, or like coordinator, the person that's running the entire thing, who's like trying to cover all of this up. And he's like, but it's very, very campy, very B movie. But this movie has a twist, and the entire time that I was watching,
you don't want to give the twist away.
I'm not giving the twist
away,
away, dude. We have to do a spoiler episode on this.
Okay.
Because of how ridiculous this twist is.
Okay.
That's all I really want to say. I think that you are not going to enjoy about 95% of this movie, but we're gonna get to that. You're gonna get to that twist and be like,
worth it.
I'm not sure if you're going to say worth it.
Really?
You might be like, why the fuck did you make me watch that?
Oh, great.
But we're going to do a spoiler episode on it anyways, because it's ridiculous, and fucking Film Vault hasn't done a spoiler episode on it, so we're going to do it.
Oh, okay.
And I really want to I want to watch it with you.
Okay.
But it is unexpected. It is twisted. It's fucked up. And it is, in retrospect, you kind of see how smart the movie is.
Okay, I can dig that. Would you say that you recommend Sleepaway Camp to people?
I would recommend anyone that if you found any of that enticing, if you are a big fan, say
if you're campy horror movies,
if you like campy horror movies, if you are a weirdo and you're into like John Waters-esque kind of humor, then watch this movie. And for sure, like tune into the spoiler episode. It's wacky as fuck. You can find it on Amazon Prime. But we're definitely gonna do. I just want to talk about that.
Okay.
Another thing that I watched, it was actually a lot better than Sleepaway Camp. I watched a documentary on Netflix that came out on the 2nd of November, at the beginning of this month. And it was called They'll Love Me When I'm Dead.
Who's it about?
They'll Love Me When I'm Dead. And it's a documentary about Orson Welles.
I heard about this. Yeah.
Who was, for those that don't know who Orson Welles is, he was a prodigal director, filmmaker, actor, that made Citizen Kane, widely regarded as one of the greatest movies of all time, and he made it at the age of 25.
Wow, that's how old I am.
25 years,
and not for much longer.
Years old. Yeah, and it's a really good documentary, but it mostly centers around Orson Welles and his creation of this movie called The Other Side of the Wind.
Okay.
The Other Side of the Wind was this really ambitious project that he had an idea for later on in his career. And he had sort of this curse of all of his work being compared to Citizen Kane because he made it so early, and because it had such critical and
acclaim,
populist acclaim. The other side of the wind for anybody that has seen Community, the easiest way that I could describe it is when Abed tried to make his feature film.
For real?
That's the easiest way that I could explain.
Where he was like, I am Jesus?
Where he was like, I am Jesus, and he was like, it's a movie within a movie and within a movie.
Yeah. It's a movie about the making of a movie about a movie.
So the other side of the wind is literally about it's half documentary, half narrative film.
Okay.
Right? But the narrative film is what was made by the director character within the movie The Other Side of the Wind.
Okay, gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
And all of the stuff that was about the director was shot in a documentary style.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But he made this over the course of like 5 or 6 years or something like that. And he had John Huston playing the director. For those that know who John Huston is or that sounds familiar, he's in Chinatown. I mean, he's fucking one of the greatest directors of all time. But it's super meta, very pretentious.
I was going to say, is it pretentious the way that the bit in Community is?
So
it's pretentious?
The documentary is They'll Love Me When I'm Dead. The movie that Orson Welles is making within this documentary is called The Other Side of the Wind. And then like
the movie that John Huston is making in the movie.
This sounds like very complex, I know. But the documentary itself is really interesting if you're interested in film history, filmmaking, or just creativity in general, because Orson Welles is a really compelling character, even if you don't like him. I don't really like Orson Welles. He seems like if Dan Harmon couldn't laugh at himself.
Oh. Ugh.
Right? It just kind of
missed me with that.
Yeah, it's kind of gross, and he was very like throughout his entire career was very like give me the respect that I deserve. I'm a genius. Like he had a little bit Kanye in him in that sense. Like he was just constantly telling people like, give me money for my creative.
I'm a genius.
Things. Which it in a way he kind of earned it, and another way it's just he was a fucking bore at times just hearing him talk. But he was very compelling and obviously very intelligent.
Yeah.
Dude was a fucking genius. I'm not going to say that the person that made Citizen Kane wasn't really a creative person. But like it's weird. I don't know if I feel like Kanye is a good example. Like, and I feel like there's precedent for this kind of idea, but there's like an arc that people follow, where, you know, if a lot of times their early work is really good, and then they either turn crazy or they turn dull. You know, Kanye West is a good example. He went crazy.
Yeah.
Like Linkin Park, a lot of people didn't like their their later work.
Well, yeah, and then like what would be, if you could tell that to like a meteoric rising artist, hey, this turning point in your career is coming. One of two things is going to happen to you. You're either going to go crazy or you're going to become boring. I think a lot of them might pick to go crazy.
True.
Maybe.
True.
I don't know.
But it was really interesting. Orson, one of the more interesting parts of the documentary that I thought was cool was Orson Welles talking about his approach to the movie, and this is going to sound really pretentious, but he started talking about divine accidents within filmmaking and how his what he was always going for were these divine accidents, but I think it's closely intertwined with like improv, and with just the shit that isn't what you intended, but that ends up good.
Okay.
You know, he talks about this moment, I forgot what movie it was, where there was this guy that reached through a window to grab an egg, and the actor accidentally fucking squeezed the egg too hard, and it broke in his hand, and it was like a funny little moment. And he was like, I am constantly looking for those divine accidents. And he said, as a director, you're someone who's just surveying over these divine accidents, and you should be encouraging them, and which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
The idea of encouraging experimentation and shit
Yeah,
like that.
that's cool.
But at the same time, like, so I watched this documentary, They'll Love Me When I'm Dead, right? And they were constantly talking about how this movie never got released, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
On the same day that this documentary was released, they took all of the footage.
Didn't they finish it or something?
This was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix released this. On the same day, they released The Other Side of the Wind.
Yeah.
So they cut everything that Orson Welles shot and actually put out a semi-finished version of the thing that he put out.
Mm-hmm.
But it is hard to watch.
Yeah.
Because
Boring?
I wouldn't say it's boring. I would say that it's pretentious.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that it's hard to follow. It's really experimental. And not in a super fun way.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have a lot of humor in it. So it's
Not enough broken eggs.
Not enough broken eggs. And I'm not sure how much of it was just because, Orson Welles died. And there's a lot of, it goes into a lot of really interesting stuff as far as of trying to make a movie, period, and how hard it is.
Mm-hmm.
This movie also had like a lot of political shit that it was tied up in because they were being funded by the brother of some Iranian politician or something like that. And I forgot what all happened, but for some reason that the Iranian government took hold of all of the footage, so it was like locked up, and then they had to basically appeal to them as far as like why they should own the footage. And so there was a lot of like crazy shit involved with it that was just kind of hard to follow, but it was still interesting. I don't know. I wanted to talk about it because I thought it was really interesting. I would recommend the documentary for sure. The Other Side of the Wind, not so much.
Do you want to talk about some of these trailers?
Well, yeah, let's talk about the trailers.
What do you want to talk about first? Because there's 3 that came out this week that are pretty big.
Let's tackle Dumbo first.
Okay. Dumbo trailer dropped. Dumbo, the next in the long line of Disney remakes of their animated films.
Live action
remakes of their animated films, which we've talked about on a couple occasions. And this one is directed by Tim Burton, which is interesting.
So, when you were watching this trailer, and I don't know about you, but like I have like a loose idea of the movies that they're planning on doing and stuff. Like I know Aladdin's coming out, like Mulan. And it doesn't surprise me that they're doing Dumbo, but I also didn't expect like the Dumbo trailer to drop. Like I
didn't know we were that close. Well, they released a teaser for it a little bit ago, but
I don't even think I saw that teaser.
Oh, okay. I think the most interesting thing is that Dumbo doesn't look to be much like the animated Dumbo movie in terms of plot or anything.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think they're gonna have racist birds.
I when I was watching the trailer, like right before, I was like, are they gonna address this at all? Like, are they going to have?
I don't know. I don't really remember Dumbo super well though.
No. It's stupid short. Like I'm pretty sure it's like 70 minutes.
Is it literally
like
Dumbo looking for his mom? Because that's what the trailer is implying is going to happen. With a lot, I mean, there's a lot more human element. There's a lot of human characters and stuff, but
it's like a majority of it is Dumbo like on a journey by himself.
For some reason, I thought he got lost and he was trying to get home, or something.
I'm not sure about home
or to the circus,
but yeah, I think he's trying to get to the circus. I have a loose like memory.
So I watched that trailer and then I hopped to Twitter to share my thoughts, and I said, I am here for fancy hair Michael Keaton. I am here for sad dad Colin Farrell. I am here for cute Dumbo. But more than anything, I am here for circus man Danny DeVito. He's in like one shot of that trailer,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh wow!" And I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna be amazing in this movie."
Yeah, it looks really. Dumbo looks so.
Dumbo looks
fucking
amazing,
but it looks
he's so cute.
It looks adorable.
Yeah.
it looks like I'm gonna fucking fall in love with.
Here's
Dumbo.
the problem that I have with making Dumbo so cute.
Right.
Based on original Dumbo, everyone makes fun of Dumbo for looking dumb because he's got big ears. That's like the
But
thing.
he's still
All the
cute.
circus animals make fun of him, but we're supposed to like buy into the idea that he's funny looking, but he's just cute. There's nothing silly about him at all.
He has really
he's
big
just
ears.
a cute little effluent.
He has really big ears.
Really
That's why
big
you make
ears
fun
that
of
he
him.
can fly on.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cute. I think I'm gonna see it.
Yeah, I'm excited for Dumbo and cute Dumbo and everything. What was your thoughts when you saw Tim Burton creep?
I already knew he was doing it.
I didn't.
Yeah, I already knew.
So I was like halfway through that trailer and I saw Tim Burton. I was like,
did you get discouraged?
yeah, kind of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I will say though, this doesn't like if you watch the trailer and it didn't say Tim Burton, you would never guess it was a Tim Burton movie. It doesn't have the creepy vibe he puts on all his stuff.
No,
And it's not stop motion.
And it doesn't. Obviously, it's not creepy, but it doesn't look like completely.
There's a very
over-
specific aesthetic that things are Tim Burton, and this doesn't seem to have it at least as much.
Right. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I understand being a little discouraged by seeing Tim Burton. It seems like, as you know, what have you done for me lately?
Like if the tone
Idea of Tim Burton hasn't done much.
If the tone of like Tim Burton is like a visual version of Edgar Allan Poe, like this is like closer to who's the fucking the painter that would paint like really wholesome like American scenes that had like
Dude,
the out like a kid holding an apple. Shit
Yeah, I
like
have
that.
no idea.
You have no idea?
No. Fuck. It's that dude. Or lady.
That's what the style of Dumbo looks like.
Now-
it looks very wholesome, very
very heartfelt. It's a
lot-
Disney
there's
movie.
a lot
It
of-
looks like a Disney movie.
like
Feels like a Disney movie, I should say.
but there are Disney movies that are outside of that visual.
No,
like,
yeah. Visually, yes. I'm thinking more of the sort of wholesome, heartfelt adventure. Is very.
But
Disney.
it feels warm.
Yeah.
Visually,
Definitely.
that it is strictly visually warm. There's a lot of oranges and shit.
Reds.
Yeah, I was excited for it.
I
don't really have much.
Probably
else to say.
not as excited for Dumbo as I am for Mulan or what's the other one that just dropped? Jeez.
I feel like I might like a live action version of Mulan more than I did the
Normal?
animated.
When's the last time
really-
you watched animated Mulan, dude?
I don't know.
So I rewatched Mulan recently, and that movie is way doper than I remembered.
Yeah,
The movie's awesome.
yeah. I didn't really like
The
it as
movie
a
is
kid.
awesome.
I didn't
yeah,
really like
dude.
it as a kid.
Real good. Aladdin. I'm probably more excited for Aladdin than I am for Dumbo, too. But I'm excited for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it kind of at length. We're not bothered by the idea of live action remakes of their movies.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk unexpected sequel that people thought was done? Toy Story 4?
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about.
Do you want to do that one, or do you want to do it?
No, let's
do you want
Toy
to do
Story
the
4.
other one? I thought you might want to save the other one for last.
Well, yeah, we'll leave that for
Okay,
last.
all right. Toy Story 4 teasers dropped. No trailer dropped. Don't miss me
It's
with
a
the
teaser trailer.
Yeah, no. I just was mad because the first time I saw it, and I thought it just said trailer, and I got really excited, and then it was just them in a circle, and I was like, that's not a trailer. I got tricked.
What were your first reactions?
I already knew it was coming out, and I still know it's coming out. Like, we haven't... The one thing... I really enjoyed the Key and Peele one. The Key and Peele one was really funny.
I didn't watch that.
You didn't watch that one? Oh, it's really good. They played Ducky and Bunny.
Right.
It's funny. It's really funny. Yeah, I already knew it was coming out, and I remain looking forward to it coming out. The Toy Story movies are all good.
How did the spork? How did you react to that?
I thought it was funny.
About it at all?
I think it's kind of a cool idea. One of the things it seems like they're doing is they sat down and they said, what types of toys haven't we told the story of yet? And so far we got carnival toys. They're up on they're hanging up at the stands all day. And we got the spork, which is kind of the toy made from a kid's imagination, which I think is interesting.
And not just like what story of toys haven't we, but I think they're addressing the question of what constitutes as a toy.
Sure.
Right? Because the spork that's in the teaser trailer, that's kind of the...
He says, I don't belong here.
Yeah, he says, I don't belong here. He doesn't believe that he is a toy.
He's a toy.
Because he's a spork that has like...
a face on him. And twisty ties.
And like, but there's like, he has like gum for shoes or something like that, and a twisty tie for his arms. But it's a child that created a toy, and it's very makeshift.
Yeah.
And I thought that if you only did 3 Toy Story movies,
oh yeah, they could have stopped. They could easily never make another one. They're fine.
Absolutely.
And they said they were stopping, and then they were like, "Wait a minute!"
And if you
that made a lot of money, let's make
and
another
if you
one.
regard it as a trilogy, those 3 movies, it is
One of the best trilogies ever.
It is statistically, by Rotten Tomatoes' sake,
Yeah.
the greatest trilogy of all time. It has a 100, 100, and a 99%.
Toy Story 3 has a 99, and the other 2 have 100.
I'm not sure if
Oh,
one
you
of
don't know
them
if that's
has a
the order.
99.
Okay.
I think maybe the first one, but one of them has a 99. But
That's lit.
literally,
Very good movies.
as close to perfect as you can get on Rotten Tomatoes without being perfect.
Yeah.
Right. And I love fucking Toy Story.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love it. And they could have ended it right there, but I am very intrigued as to what they can do with the sport character.
Yeah.
Because it's so existential.
Okay.
And I don't know how much they're going to do with that.
I think they'll probably do a lot more than you would think would happen in a kids movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it makes me excited because I'm like, how much am I going to identify with this sport character?
How much is the sport going to mean to me? A 26-year-old man.
Because like, I'm like, there's a lot of times where I'm like, well, I just don't belong here. You know, like I
am the sport.
That's one of the reasons why I like Wreck-It Ralph so much.
Yeah.
Because there's a character in the game that is called a glitch.
Yeah.
And the entire time she's
Spoilers.
I'm not spoiling like anything as far as the actual spoiler of the movie itself, but
Yeah.
I really enjoy characters that don't feel like they belong. And I'm really interested as to how they can approach that within the Toy Story universe.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with you completely. I'm very excited for it. And you should watch the Key and Peele one because it's also really good.
Yeah, I will.
It's very funny.
Do you want to pause real quick before
Get some lighting? Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it.
What?
You know what? Let's talk about Detective Pikachu.
Let's do it.
I was not looking forward to this movie. I love Pokemon very, very much. Pokemon was a very important part of my childhood. I like the trailer a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really like the trailer.
Has it grown on you?
Yeah. So my biggest thing that I was upset about going into because when the announcement for Detective Pikachu was made, my biggest thing I was upset about was two-pronged. One, they weren't using Max Landis' script. 2, he got Power Rangers'd again. 2, the idea of a talking Pokemon detective is so not the spirit of what Pokemon can be, and I think should be in its movie. Now, they immediately address it in the trailer, and immediately eased me, put me at ease. The lead is the only one who can understand what he's saying, and I was like, okay, that's a fun bit. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just like a random Pikachu who wants to solve crimes is a funny idea. So they set me at ease with the way that they're approaching it. For those who don't know, it's based off like a Japanese mobile game, which I was also like, why are you doing this?
Right.
I'm into it. I think Ryan Reynolds is a very good choice. He's a fun dude.
Right.
Very good at what he does. I like I don't know what's his last name, Justice something, the lead. I don't know his last name. The dude from the Get Down in Jurassic World 2. I like him a lot. I think he's really good, really likable actor. And I really like the animation.
And
the more I look at it, the more I like it.
You were kind of uncomfortable with the animation
when I first watched the trailer. I was like, it was thrown by. It's very unique looking. It's very weird. It almost looks like I said like clay figures almost when you look at it. I was not shook by fuzzy Pikachu like the rest of the world was. That didn't bother me at all. I kind of always was like, well, yeah, obviously Pikachu's fuzzy.
The idea of Pikachu is obviously fuzzy.
Yeah,
but we've never seen a fuzzy.
I mean,
Pikachu
we've seen
before.
Pikachus with tufts of hair and stuff, though.
But it's still we haven't seen a fuzzy Pikachu before.
But yeah,
one of the main problems with making a live action Pokemon movie
was how they're going to look.
Is how it's going to look.
Not only how is it going to look, but you have to do properly sort of ported designs of every different type of Pokemon, and there are so many. So many different designs and different textuals you're going to have to figure out, like Jigglypuff is hairy. And it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. She's got the big thing of hair. It makes sense that she's hairy like that. Like, there's so many things they have to figure out for. Psyduck is scary looking because he's got a bill. And you're like, oh my god, he looks like a duck, like a real duck.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get it. But yeah, I think the more I look at them, especially when I look at them in stills, I think in stills they look great. When I look at just pictures, and the more I watched the trailer a few more times, and the more I look at it, the more I like it. So yeah, I am officially on board for the movie, and I think the thing that excites me more than anything is the potential it brings for other stories to be told that aren't kid who doesn't want a Pokemon teams up with a Pikachu who wants to be a detective that only the kid can understand. I think there's fun stories to be told with that, and this one they're going to look for his dad, and I'm sure I will bet right now this movie makes bank. This movie's going to make so much money. Did you know that Pokemon is the most successful IP since the year 2000? It's made more money than anything else in the world.
Really?
Pokemon, dude. Without making a live-action movie, Pokemon has made more money than anything. This movie's going to kill. It's going to kill at the box office. I would be obviously we haven't seen it yet, but right now I am less excited for Detective Pikachu 2, where they solve another crime, than I am for let's actually do like an adventure movie with a trainer with a team of Pokemon or something.
Like maybe this is some type of like backdoor marketing tactic in order to make a lateral
Make sure
move.
the public accepts this before we do the big one. You know what I mean? And I think I would bet money they will make Detective Pikachu 2. And maybe the arc of this character is, it's hinted at the fact that he failed at becoming a trainer. Maybe
he goes back into it.
He goes back and becomes a trainer. I'm not super into the idea of just having another main character that uses a Pikachu. I think there's a lot of dope designs of Pokemon that they could use, and it just seems like give us more, you know what I mean? But that's like a nitpicky complaint of like a super fan. Like, you know what I mean? I want to see as many different designs in live action as I can.
Right. And there's so many trainers. Why would every single trainer?
Why does every main character of your stuff have a Pikachu? I know Pikachu's cute. I get it. I get that Pikachu's adorable, but there's more that you can offer us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope this movie does well so that it can breed more movies and more. And I think that Pokemon as a brand has a type of potential for malleability, almost the way Marvel has, where you can give different types of filmmakers their shot at a Pokemon movie to make their own style or brand of movie in the Pokemon world.
Right.
Which I think is super cool. Like, you can make an adventure movie. You can make a hero's journey movie. You can make a detective mystery. You can make you could make a pet movie, like Air Bud, like just move like a kid and his pet that fall. You can make that in a Pokemon world.
Sure.
Yeah, you can make. There's so many different types of stories that you can tell in the world that it really excites me. And they hinted at enough like small world building things in the trailer. Just the trailer alone that it excited me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like it's being handled well.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
Plus, Ken Watanabe's in it. Ken Watanabe's dope.
True. Pokemon is like one of those IPs that I've argued over. Like, there is a potential of making a good live action version of it, and
With yourself or with other people?
With other people.
Meaning you were defending the ability to do it.
So I've gotten into an argument with Jamie over the ability to make a live action Pokemon movie.
Really?
Yeah. And
Okay.
I think this happened in like high school.
Okay.
It was very so like
I've always
my memory of
thought
it might have been just completely formed
Okay.
into something that didn't happen. But I remember having an argument with Jamie about it was like in the cafeteria or something. It was like during lunch. We were talking about animes and how he was saying that you just can't do it. Like you can't adapt.
Well,
like,
Avatar
an anime,
probably just came out.
an anime into a good live action movie, and I was just like, and it was very similar to the conversation that we had about
Venom. Okay.
and how I was like, my stance is that there just isn't precedent set yet.
It just hasn't been done yet.
It just hasn't been done yet, and it takes if you want to be an innovator with the medium, then you that you have to tackle the things that haven't been done yet and that people are scared to do. Obviously, it's difficult. But I think that he brought up. So I brought up like Transformers or something, and I was like, I like the first Transformers.
Yeah, me too.
I enjoyed it.
I like the first. I like at varying levels the first three.
Right.
They get lower and lower, and then they become really bad.
Right.
But I'm super excited for Bumblebee.
I wouldn't say super excited.
That trailer,
it looks fun.
I was like, what? Okay. Anyway.
It looks all right. But I really enjoyed the first one. And he was like, but those are like 50-foot tall fighting robots. And I was like, you could have 50-foot tall fighting animals. Like, what? I don't.
Yeah. You know what's weird? There's this. One of the things people have a hard time wrapping their heads around in terms of live action Pokemon is the parallels to like cockfighting or dogfighting. And that's never been something I've even questioned. Like I grew up with Pokemon. I grew up loving Pokemon more than basically anything else.
Right.
And I was always like, no, it's not like that. It's different. It's a competition. It's similar to how like we would box each other, kind of thing.
Well, and so when people
It's a
describe MMA as like human dogfighting, right? Like I'm like, no, those people they've chosen to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're going to approach a Pokemon with the right level of complexity, then that you have to include that like the Pokemon are making this choice.
Yeah.
And not all Pokemon are doing this.
Yeah.
The Pokemon exist to just be pets.
Well, also the idea that a wild Pokemon would be extremely dangerous in the world if you really start thinking about translating the skeleton of what we have as Pokemon and putting it into a really live world, really like we always talk about, really based in realism. There's a lot of questions that you'd have to answer about things and how the world ended up the way it is. And I think it would boil down to survival. I think at a certain point in the evolution of the world, humans realized that Pokemons can murder us at any time, and we need to figure out how to coexist with them. And it blossomed into a world where everything basically is built around the connection between humans and Pokemon, which I think is super cool. I am obsessed with the Pokemon IP. If you came to me and you had a blank check and you said, hey, you can be the Kevin Feige for anything, what would you want to be the Kevin Feige for? I would either pick Pokemon or DC Universe.
Okay.
And I would probably pick Pokemon.
Right.
Probably.
It's one of those universes that like I'm like if 100% virtual reality existed and I could just matrix myself into a universe, Pokemon's one of those.
Oh yeah,
universes.
for sure. It'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I used to when I was a little kid, just be like think about, oh, man, what if Pokemon were real? What would I do? Oh man, the most lit life you could live. I got another movie. I don't know if you heard about this.
All right.
Let me make sure I got this right. The film is called Everything Must Go. Not the Will Ferrell movie.
Okay.
It's
because I've seen that movie.
Yeah, it's a new.
It's all
movie.
right. It's not a bad movie.
Produced by J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot
All right.
production company, being co-written by Lisa McQuillan of Blackish, the TV show Blackish,
Okay.
and being described as Clerks for a new generation.
Okay.
Can I fill in the blank for who the other co-writer is and the star of this film will be?
Who?
Sir Robert Bryson Hall III, a.k.a.
Logic.
Logic.
Huh.
Yes. Logic is writing and starring in a movie for Bad Robot.
Okay, cool. What's it called? Everything Must Go?
Everything Must Go.
Okay.
Described as Clerks for a New Generation, which I don't entirely know what that means because I've never seen Clerks.
Right.
But it's like a comedy, like a...
That's interesting.
Yeah. Dude's trying to get the Renaissance Man thing going. He's got his book that he finished. Now he's hopping into the... I mean, he's always talked about wanting to do that, become an actor and make movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I'm more excited for him than I am for the movie. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, I feel like Logic is one of those people that, because of the modern world of being able to be really connected to people through day-to-day life,
Mm-hmm.
and because he's just such a positive person,
Yeah.
that I just want him to succeed at the things that he wants to succeed at.
Yeah.
So seeing that announcement, I saw that literally today, like an hour before.
Yeah, in the same way that you want a friend to succeed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I feel comfortable referring to Logic as Bobby, even though I've never met him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, yeah, that's Bobby.
Yeah.
And I feel like I know him. It's a weird thing. But yeah, I thought it was super cool that announcement came, and very cool that he got such a big production company involved with it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That robot's huge.
Yeah, it has Bad Robot made anything that's like smaller, like more restricted?
They made Super 8. That's not small,
That's
but
kind of a big movie.
yeah,
that's kind of
true.
a big movie.
That's true.
I
I don't know. I'd have to go look through the catalog of. They make a lot more stuff, I think, than we realize. But
Okay.
a lot of it is like sci-fi driven.
right.
You know, more blockbustery stuff.
True. Yeah, that's really interesting. I enjoy Logic as a creative, and there's a lot of times where I wonder if he would be better off as a writer than as a musician.
Yeah.
Because I'll hear him talk about stories and stuff,
Mhm.
and especially with
just even
Incredible-
the story that you're laid out with in the Incredible True Story,
Mhm.
through just a few lines of dialogue and voiceover, you're super drawn into that,
True.
and you want to know more about that world
Mhm.
that he's built through that album.
Yeah. And it seems like he could write a Clerks. Like
Mhm.
something that isn't super...
Is Clerks Kevin Smith?
Yes.
Okay.
That was Kevin Smith's
It's like his big coming out party, right?
Yes. That
Yo,
was
shout out
his
Kevin
first-
Smith, healthy post heart attack. He's killing it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Really happy for him too.
It seems like he could write something like that because a lot of his the Incredible Story, it's more about like the ideas, and it's very like focused on conversation and dialogue and
Personality. Of those two
personality.
characters.
And that seems fun, and it's
Yeah.
very pop culture driven.
Yep.
Characters talking about pop culture. and
Rubik's
stuff.
cubes and
Yeah.
bitches and kung fu. Yeah, I thought you would think that was that was coming. And I had one more. I don't know if you have any other movie stuff, but I have a TV thing that I just found out about before we recorded too that I'm excited about.
Okay, yeah, we can talk about the TV thing. And
It's-
then there's
it's pretty-
there's like something that happened.
It's kind of brief, but there was just an announcement like an hour before we started too that I saw on Twitter. January 4th, Young Justice season 3 drops.
Okay, so we're on we're on sort of like deferring. I couldn't get through just Young Justice season 2.
You didn't get through it?
I really like season 1 of Young Justice.
Young Justice might be my favorite superhero animated
I have to
show
make
ever.
sure that I say Young Justice instead of Justice Young, because there's a character on like 2K17 or 18
Named Justice Young.
Yeah, and it's Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Um,
Yeah, Young Justice might be my favorite animated superhero show ever on a long list of amazing shows, including, but not limited to, Teen Titans, Batman Beyond, Batman the Animated Series, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, Spider-Man from the 90s, X-Men Evolution. There's so many great ones that are so good. Young Justice might be my favorite.
I really
But
like
that
the
is
first
my
season.
full wheelhouse of what I love is that what is Kyle's favorite thing in Teen Titans? You go, oh well, his favorite superhero is Nightwing, and then you go, yeah, it is Nightwing. And what does Nightwing do? He came from the Teen Titans. I love it.
Yeah, like I said,
But I think
really
I
like
think
the
that
first season.
Young Justice is more mature than Teen Titans was in a way, and I like that a lot more.
Sure. I really like the first season of Young Justice. The time jump that happened in season 2, like it just jarred me enough to where it made it hard to watch for me. And I
do you think if you revisited it,
you got it? You got it.
Yeah, I did. I just didn't. I didn't have confidence in
yeah.
it. Do you think if you watched it again, you could get through it? Like maybe like if when season 3 is out, if we sat down and we watched from the beginning through.
Maybe.
No. Yeah. How far into season 2 have you ever gotten?
I think I got like 2 episodes.
Oh, so you barely. Okay, so you barely scratched the surface of it. Okay. Come on, dog.
I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it, so I was like, I'm not gonna keep watching it.
You should watch it. It's really good.
But also, I mean, continuing to enjoy it. There's like a certain game that you have to play. I would say as an audience member, if you're not enjoying a movie, to like be. I don't.
Movies are a little different because it's
so short
experience. Yeah. TV shows. My general rule is, I will give a TV show 3 episodes to figure itself out. Yeah, that's my general rule. Maybe 4. Depend. Like if I'm on the fence, I'll be like, I'll give it one more.
Mine's not as hard and fast.
It's a little bit harder with 30-minute shows and with animated shows. I think.
Right.
I'm talking more like hour-long dramas. I'll give it 3 episodes. I think you might need to give things a little bit more of a chance for things that are shorter.
Yeah, I'm not as hard and fast. Like if I don't feel it, I don't feel it, and I won't. But I'm starting to do that with movies now too. If I'm like, oh man, like the other day I tried to watch Jerry Maguire.
Okay.
And I wasn't.
Show me the money.
And I wasn't. I've never actually seen Jerry Maguire before.
I don't know if I have either.
And maybe 5 minutes into the movie, I was like, I'm not in the right mood for this.
Yeah,
it's kind of
happen.
sappy. It's kind of sappy, and I was like, I'm not in the right mood for this right now. So like, I watched fucking the Species series instead. It's just like a super like low budget sci-fi ridiculous fucking series with Natasha Henstridge.
So wait a minute. You only watched a couple of episodes of Young Justice season 2. Did you even get to the Aqualad stuff?
I think I did. I don't remember.
You didn't I know you didn't resolve it because that happens much later.
Well, I don't remember if it's 2 episodes, if it's 4. I don't remember.
Oh my god.
But I remember.
I will say,
finishing it.
Most people I talk to like season 1 more than season 2. Season 2 becomes like we were talking about, and you will hear in our Fantastic Beasts episode, convoluted. A lot going on. Lots of different plot threads going on. Young Justice season 2 is pretty convoluted. There's a lot happening, and there's a lot of characters just thrown at you.
Right.
Which is something that I found surprising that bothered people. And I think it's because I just have, I love the DC. I know the DC characters already. I knew everyone that was showing up. So, when a different Robin was there in the first, I was like, oh hell yeah, Tim Drake's here, give it to me, everything. Wonder Girl's here now, everything. I was like, just bring it on.
Whereas I'm not
it all on.
I'm not
me.
as informed.
Yeah, I was like, lay it all on me because I'm here for it. I loved that about season 2, but that is something that it like threw people and they couldn't keep up with season 2. I'm really excited for season 3. It's called Young Justice Outsiders. I think there's going to be another time jump, and there's for some reason. Spy stuff is going on. I know that the general plot is something to do with metahuman trafficking, and the whole cast is back, which is really cool. They're introducing a couple new characters.
At what point do they become middle-aged Justice?
Well, the line they toe is that after the time jump, the original cast is now in like their early 20s, but they now introduce characters who are still teenagers. They introduce more teenage characters. The reason I'm excited is we just finally got a date, January 4th, which means if they keep up the model they were doing with the live action Titans show, which I have not watched yet for this reason I'm about to tell you, if they keep up with the model, I probably will not get DC Universe or whatever their streaming service is called. I won't do my free trial until like the end of February, end of March, because that's when all of Young Justice and all of Titans will be on there, and I can just watch them all during the free trial. So look forward to that when I can tell you how they are, because I'm not paying for it until then. I hate that they're releasing things weekly. I get why they're doing it, because they don't want people to do what I just explained.
Right, but then they'll just wait.
Yeah, but I'm just going to wait. I watched the most recent DC animated movie, The Death of Superman, and I was really surprised. I felt like the past.
That's the most recent animated movie?
Mm-hmm. They made The Death of Superman last year, and then this year, The Reign of the Supermen comes out, sort of the sequel to it.
Have they done a Death of Superman before? I feel like I've seen a Death of Superman that was like made a couple years ago. Unless I just like I don't.
You saw Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice.
No.
No.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, like an animated version.
Are you sure you're not thinking of All Star Superman?
No,
because that shit is
dog.
Dope.
Dog. I know what All Star Superman is. I know what All Star Superman is.
But yeah, not that I know it, but I might be wrong. This is more in the modern canon of their animated stuff, which is kind of based off the New 52 character designs and everything. And in my opinion, has been a little bit weaker than their older animated stuff. Every one of these movies that comes out, they're all rated PG-13, and I always get the vibe that they're trying too hard to be cool. When I watch these movies, they say bitch or damn, and you're like, oh, look at you, there's blood in your movie, and it's like, all right, I get it. But this one I thought had a lot of good character stuff in it, did a really good job of examining Superman and what Superman means and what Superman represents to the world and all this kind of stuff. And obviously, a lot of the movie consists of them fighting Doomsday, the iconic storyline. But yeah, I liked it more than I was expecting to. I really enjoyed it. My other issue I've had with the more modern age stuff is I feel like they've had a really hard time landing on a consistently good voice cast for their characters. And I feel like part of that is because the stuff when we were kids, like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited shows when we were kids, had such great voice casting for every character. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're having a harder time landing as consistently good actors for their roles. I think that Nathan Fillion is perfect for Green Lantern. And their Batman, Jason O'Mara, is pretty good. And I thought Jerry O'Connell voices Superman now, and he's kind of hit or miss, but throughout the movie he grew on me some. Jerry O'Connell of Kangaroo Jack fame.
Yeah. Kangaroo Jack, and what else is he in? He's in Piranha 3D.
Yep.
Do you know his character's name in Piranha 3D?
No.
Derek Jones.
Really?
Yeah.
Shout out Derek Jones.
He's also a porn producer.
Just like Derek Jones.
Just like Derek Jones. JK, LOL.
Yeah, like Rosario Dawson voices Wonder Woman now, and it's like, I feel like I should like it more. It's weird. It's just one of the things I've had a hard time vibing with their newer stuff with is their voice cast. But there's some really good stuff. There's a lot more humorous moments that sort of, this funny stuff with Flash. And I just think that this movie kind of builds up to doing a really good job with the Justice League and with Superman and stuff. So I really enjoyed it. So recommend that. You got anything else for movies or TV or anything?
Yeah. I mean, there was a pretty big thing that happened news-wise as far as Stan Lee died.
Oh, yeah. I was going to talk about that. Yeah. Rest in peace, Stan Lee, dude. Really sad. I think that at our age, a lot of the people that have passed away as we've grown up, it hasn't felt too bad. And the first one for me that really hit me was Robin Williams. Mm-hmm. Where when Robin Williams passed away, it was like, I read the news and I was like, oh man, that's terrible. That's such a bummer. And then you start thinking about like, we'll never get to see them do anything new. We'll never get to see what they were working on. And you start reflecting on what they have done. And the more I thought about Robin Williams, the more it hurt. Mm-hmm. The more sad I got.
Yeah.
Just thinking about how much joy that dude brought to the world.
Yeah.
And how someone that brought so much joy could have been so sad on the inside was just really, really a bummer to think about. And I think Stan Lee is sort of the next one that's really hit me of being like, this dude has provided so much to the world through his creativity and his sense of goodness in people, I think. Yeah, I was really bummed. And it was a little easier than Robin Williams's because Robin's was out of the blue. It was unexpected.
Yeah.
We've known that Stan Lee is old and was probably going to die soon for a few years. He died at 95 years old. He lived a great life.
Yeah. That's a full life.
Yeah.
If I
So
could-
like
yeah.
that part of it, you kind of it gives you kind of you feel a little bit better. You're like, at least he made it as long as he did.
It is
We
sad,
got what we
but it's
could. Yeah.
also it's not the unexpectedness of it.
Yeah.
Isn't that to me? That's what gets me more often than anything. Robin
Yeah.
Williams hit me hard. Surprisingly enough, like the celebrity death that got me the most. Heath Ledger's up there, but even more than that, Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, dude. I was really sad when Anton Yelchin died, and I think it not only the unexpected factor, but he was so young.
Yeah.
So young, so on the rise in his field. He's so talented.
Yeah.
And he just seemed he seemed so good. He seemed like such a good person, and it was such a freak accident. The way he passed away was
And
so
I was already
sad.
such like a fan of his. I was always excited when I heard that he was cast in a movie.
Yeah.
And like just the pure tragedy of his death was it was so strange and weird. He literally like died.
A car wasn't in park.
Yeah, a car wasn't in park, and he went to like go out and get his mail, and then he was pinned up against between like a fence or some type of like block and his car, and then died.
Yeah, it's just a freak accident.
Yeah,
So sad. What is the movie with him and Felicity Jones? The romantic comedy that is
Like
amazing,
Crazy.
Like Crazy. If you don't know Anton Yelchin and you don't know who we're talking about, you might know him from the Star Trek movies. He plays one of the guys on the bridge in Star Trek. The movie Like Crazy, I would say, is probably the best one to go watch to sort of.
Yeah, I would say the
Probably my favorite Anton Yelchin.
It's super independent. A lot of people don't know about it, but you have
one
Anton
of my
Yelchin
favorite
as well as
romantic comedies.
Felicity Jones, who blew up.
You know her
and
from Star Wars Rogue One.
but
She's the lead.
also the third person in that movie. Do you remember who it is?
No.
Fucking Jennifer Lawrence, dude.
Oh, that's right. Before she was Jennifer Lawrence, she was in
Yeah.
that movie. That's right. Wow.
So
Yeah,
you can
Like
kind of,
Crazy
like,
is great.
You can. It's like a cool little time capsule. It's you know the budding careers of these three really
talented
people.
actors. Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I think just
but going back to Stanley, I mean, he has lived like a really full life, and it is kind of sad. I know that his career and his life has been surrounded by like a lot of controversy as far as
the
like,
Steve Ditko stuff and everything. Yeah.
but
We're not going to get into that because we don't really know.
I don't
know
really
enough
anything
about it.
But
Yeah.
Regardless, he was a really like talented dude, and he
Beloved.
obviously brought beloved and just brought a lot of fucking creation into the world.
I think more than just like bringing his creativity, I think he brought a lot of morality to the world. A lot of what the Marvel characters stand for and built on from previous superhero stuff. He is the reason that we have character-driven superheroes. He made Peter Parker because he wanted not only someone in a colorful costume who could do amazing things, but he wanted someone that you could look at and you could feel like it could be you. And I think that is his greatest achievement, is bringing that into that medium. And I just think, rest in peace to Stan Lee.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you want to not be sad anymore and talk about sports?
Let's talk about sports, dog. It's like watching ESPN after you watch a scary movie.
Yeah.
Like to help you sleep at night.
Or like
It'll turn
even
on.
when ESPN will air their, they'll do really great segments on, here's a kid who has cancer and in their inspiring story, and you're like, man, I'm so sad that kid has, and then they're like, all right, here's the highlights. All right. And you're like, okay, whip me around, ESPN, with my emotions.
Right.
You want to start with Jimmy G Buckets?
What a G buckets?
Jimmy G Buckets.
What does the G stand for?
Gets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he gets buckets.
So Jimmy Butler. So
Is
this
your
is our
father.
first episode that we've recorded since he's been traded.
Yeah, and we've had several episodes since he first asked to be traded. This has been a nonsense merry-go-round of
Didn't we talk about him in like our first episode?
one of them. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's
Anyway.
been like almost 2 months, I think, since he got asked to be traded.
But
It's been
finally got
crazy.
traded. He was on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now he's on the Philadelphia 76ers.
Welcome to the process.
So he was traded to Philadelphia along with Justin Patton for Jared Bayless, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and a 2022 second-round pick. Probably the two biggest things in that trade
Saric and
were
Covington.
Saric and Covington.
Yeah, for sure.
Two huge,
Two good role players.
yeah. two starters. For Philly.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like can we judge this yet, or do we have to wait and see what happens?
I would wait and see what happens.
First of all, we have to wait and see if Jimmy stays there. Jimmy will be a free agent after this year.
True.
That's the first caveat. If he leaves, they lost. They lost the trade. I mean, unless they win the finals this year or something surprising.
Now,
what they gave up versus what they would get, most likely if Jimmy leaves, they've lost the trade.
do you feel like this was a necessary trade for Philly?
Nope.
No?
Not one little bit. I don't think that this vaults them any higher in the Eastern Conference hierarchy than they already were.
Really?
Not really, no. I don't think that they're going to beat this. I don't think that in the playoffs they would beat the Celtics, the Raptors, or right now the Bucks.
I think it's a little too early to tell that.
I can understand that. I think
it's a little
without
too early
rounding
to
out their bench, now I think their depth is shot. Especially if Markelle keeps struggling.
So, all right. So I'm very weird about this, and I'm not sure how much of it is just due to my own bias. I'm a legit 76ers fan now.
You're full on the bandwagon.
Okay, sure.
You trust the process.
Call it a bandwagon if you want, but it's just I'm interested in who the 76ers are as a team, and they're crazy fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think that the rarest commodity, especially in the NBA and as well as with analyzing the NBA and journaling, is patience.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's the rarest commodity in sports,
and that is one thing.
Fans, and it's patience. No one is willing to wait for anything,
and that's one thing that Sam Hinkie had.
Yeah, dude. He trusted the process.
Trusting the process is literally just be patient and wait for us to.
I love to act like I love the idea of the process, but I love it from the outside. If my team ever embraced the idea of the process, I would hate it.
Right.
The idea of sucking for so long on purpose, it just why I don't want to go through that as a fan. As a Heat fan, I've been able to basically go through consistent success throughout my life. We had obviously the Heatles years, and before that, we had the D-Wade with Shaq championship, and they've always been competitive outside of a few years since I was a fan. Being a Dolphins fan in football, I've dealt with consistent mediocrity. They've never really bottomed out outside of 1 year where they won one game. But I would rather watch a team that is always winning between 6 and 9 games in the NFL or winning, 35 to 45 games in the NBA than watch a team who wins 2 games in the NFL or wins 12 games in the NBA. It's just, I can't buy into the process from an insider's stance. I love looking at it from the outside and seeing how it works. I think it's fascinating, but I would never want to experience it. That being said, I will ask you this. Is trading for Jimmy Butler betraying the process and striking the end of the process?
Do you want to bring people into that might not be aware of what the process is?
Okay, yeah. So the process is it's a joke term given to what is referred to generally as tanking, which is when you field a purposefully less than team, usually loaded with a lot of young people and no veteran presence to guide them through a season to get as good a draft pick as possible at the end of the season.
Yeah, because
and then to build up your team with high draft picks.
Yeah, because when you suck, you get a higher draft pick. So and it's the way that the NBA sort of levels the playing field, so that true. Do I think that the process and tanking is over? Yeah, I think
this strikes the end of the process. I think the process has been betrayed.
I wouldn't say betrayed. I think
betrayed.
It's the end. I would say that it's the end of the process.
Now, was the end not when Sam Hinkie was fired? I don't think it was.
No.
I don't think that was the end. I think the process continued. But I think now with this is by the way Elton Brand's first big move as the new GM of the team was to trade for Jimmy Butler.
But the point of the process isn't to be perpetually in the process. You suck for the
draft
end
pick.
the end result of
But
something.
I think that the process in the very end, I think the process is about getting the guys in the draft and then growing the team around them. And I don't know if that's what grabbing Jimmy Butler is.
It is. I would agree with you in the sense that like the process is over with trading.
And
for
by the
Jimmy
way,
Butler.
I'm not saying it's a bad move. I'm just in terms of the semantics of the process.
But I mean, if we're talking about the if the process is the idea of sucking in order to get better draft picks, that was over last year.
I think surprisingly last year they were way better than they thought they would, and I would argue maybe too good too fast.
They were ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
And it might have hurt them in the end.
Yeah. Because now the pressure mounted.
Because they were better than they expected to be, their own standards were raised.
Yeah. And I think that has hurt Markelle Fultz. I think that might hurt. Like, I think now there's pressure on Brett Brown. He has to win. He might not need to win a title this year or next year, but he has to start winning consistently.
Mm-hmm.
They need to make playoff runs. I think that now, it used to be the fact that Ben Simmons couldn't shoot. It was like, yeah, but look how great he is at everything else. Now he better get something going, because for them to get where they need to be, he can't be so restricted from the perimeter. Mm-hmm. Markelle Fultz needs to figure something out, or they're going to ship him away, because now the pressure has mounted. They don't have the luxury of patience anymore.
True.
Because of this trade.
True. And a lot of people, especially on the Ringer podcast, are completely hopeless about Markelle Fultz. And
yeah, I don't agree with that.
And it really annoys me. It really annoys me that, like, there's certain people who are, like, oh, Josh Jackson still has a chance, but Markelle Fultz, Josh Jackson's PER right now is at like a 4. It's literally like 4.3. It's ridiculous. And Markelle Fultz is like 11. It's serviceable.
Yeah. I think
that's a good role player.
I think the difference is what Markelle Fultz was supposed to be before the mystery, the shoulder injury that led to the mind conundrum of him being a broken version of himself.
True.
To what can he be now if he's broken.
And like I said before, this is also so hard for me to be objective about, because in all of the 76ers, they're being fun, and I'm a fan of Ben and Joel and stuff. I really fucking closely relate to Markelle Fultz's journey.
Okay.
Because it is just straight up mental. And we did we talk on this episode about performance anxiety and shit like that?
Yeah.
Anyways, like when I played basketball, like I was fucking very nervous, and I could never score. The one thing that I was really good at was playing defense and playing with
having effort
and having effort on the court, which is something that Markelle has.
Yeah.
He plays hard,
yeah,
and he's athletic, and for the most part, he's a good playmaker. He makes a lot of bad decisions sometimes, but his shot isn't there when he has the time to think about it.
That free throw the other night. Oh, rough.
He has these literal, like, his mind is his own worst enemy. And whenever I see him score, it's my own journey. You know what I mean? So, like, I get fucking pumped when I see, he might be a shitty person. I don't know.
I don't know. He loves Chick-fil-A. That's all I care about.
But when he does succeed, I feel like it's my own success. Like I closely parallel my own mental problems with his.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said, it's hard to be objective about it. If they do trade him, no matter where he does get traded, I'm still going to follow his trajectory, because fucking Victor Oladipo exists.
Yeah.
Victor Oladipo didn't become the player that we know him today until 5 years in.
Yeah.
And to say that can't happen with Markelle Fultz, if you say that can't happen with sorry, fuck you. That can absolutely happen with him. He is incredibly physically gifted. Fucking 6'4", 6'5" point guard that really long, very athletic, can dribble the ball really well. and he has shown flashes of how good of a playmaker that he can be at the NBA level. It's his own brain that he has to get over now. And but I will track if he does get traded. If he did get traded, and the one place obviously that I want him to go
The Magic
is the Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
And like I've over the past couple of days, I've just been like working it out in my head, like, or not just in my head, but like on
hitting the trade machine, trying
the
to
trade
figure out
machines,
the numbers that
trying
work.
to figure it out. I was like, okay, so the Magic will never do this unless Philly adds in a bunch of picks. But say if the Magic send Aaron Gordon to Philly, which would fill in. Aaron Gordon could play that 4 spot really well, where Wilson Chandler is starting right now.
Yeah, a lineup of Ben Simmons, J.J. Redick, Jimmy Butler, Aaron Gordon, JoJo would be nasty.
It would be nasty. Aaron Gordon would provide a lot of good scoring. Like Aaron Gordon is our best offensive presence right now. I mean, arguably, like there's also Vucevic, but I mean they're both right there. And
Aaron Gordon's way more threatening.
Aaron Gordon can dribble better, can play make better, and can score on all 3 levels.
And he can put his hand behind his head while he dunks on you.
No, he's also incredibly athletic. But him being like the 3rd option or 4th option, depending scoring option on the 76ers, that is fucking nasty.
I think that Aaron Gordon is the type of guy who, on a championship team, would be the 3rd option.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's a first or second option guy.
True. I agree.
He could maybe be the second. I think that he's shown flashes of the playmaking ability, and it's just that he seems too passive a lot of the time.
Right. But like right now, especially in the half court, you're going to have J.J. Redick, Jimmy Butler, like not in this particular order, but J.J. Redick, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, right? And he's going to be that, like he would be that.
They're going to get more shots than him, you mean?
Huh?
That are going to get more shots than he would.
That would be the scoring. That's the priorities of scoring options, I would say.
You don't think Joel is first?
No, I said
not in that order.
I would say not in that particular order. Those 3 guys are going to be ahead of Aaron Gordon. That's why I prefaced it that way.
Okay.
Yes, but so I was going through particular trades and I was like, if they traded Markelle Fultz and Wilson Chandler to Orlando, and then that's why I prefaced it with they would have to include a lot more picks. You
realize you're fulfilling the prophecy, though.
What?
I have an NBA Dynasty in 2K14 on my Xbox 360 where I used the Magic. And not only has Victor Oladipo won several MVP awards, but the starting power forward on almost all of those championship teams is Wilson Chandler.
Nice. But so I feel like Aaron Gordon's almost too good for the Magic right now. I don't know what their plans are for him. He signed that really trade friendly
that weird
salary
contract
deal. So they did extend him, but also it's very tradable.
Yep.
I think that he would be a tremendous asset to like the 76ers. I think that he would fit in really nicely with them, especially because
or the Lakers.
Well, Lakers as well. And I also, on the other side of it, I think that
giving Markelle somewhere out of the spotlight.
Orlando would be a great place for Markelle to grow. Not because of how good we are at developing players.
They're horrible at developing players.
Because we're dog shit garbage at developing.
Well, historically, but you have a new GM, new coach now.
True.
So, you don't want to count them out before they have a chance.
We don't know if the Magic front office or who the Magic are right now can develop players or not.
Historically, though,
awful.
They love letting high draft picks leave and then becoming good.
Yeah. Most notably, Victor Oladipo. But I think that Markelle would flourish more in a small market and in a market where he would be. The uncertainty of Markelle, like I don't think that aids in his mental health very well. The fact that he has J.J. Redick sitting on the bench, who is a better player.
Yeah.
And makes more sense. Makes more sense. It makes more sense for J.J. Redick to start than Markelle
they're
Fultz.
doing
but
that
they were
now.
trying to force Markelle Fultz into the starting position. Markelle Fultz would be the starting point guard on the Magic
right now.
Regardless, he's better than DJ Augustine or Jaren Grant.
Yeah.
Just period. I even with his faults, I would say that you would start Markelle over.
Who else was in that trade to get Aaron Gordon? So it was Markelle and Wilson Chandler for Aaron Gordon.
That was straight
and
up
picks.
And it, but I was like, I don't think the Magic would do that. They would want more, so they would have to add picks with that. Yeah, but that's just like something that I thought of, and I was like, man, like.
So you think that where would you rank Philly in the East now?
I don't have enough precedent for me to say that they're anything other than fourth.
Yeah, I would say they're definitely top 4, but I would say right now I would, if I were to guess right now, I would think they're 4.
Yeah,
mostly because of how great the Bucks have started the season and how different they look under Coach Bud.
We only have one game to sit on right now.
They're
literally like playing right now as we record, but they have played one game thus far. And who did they play?
The Magic.
Other than
and who won?
Magic. And who won?
The
Orlando Magic. You know why? Because we're the best team in the East, dog. We beat the Celtics. We beat the fucking 76ers. Fucking bring it on, Raptors. Bring it on, Bucks.
You want a piece of Giannis?
Warriors.
You want a piece of Giannis? Warriors East, baby.
Yo, guess what? We got Jonathan Isaac. He's out here blocking fucking Joel Embiid.
That's true.
Potential MVP candidate. He said, "Fuck it, I'm long, bitch. I'm
long.
Boy. Fucking John Hammond's like, ooh.
Let's look at this from kind of the perspective I haven't seen as many people look at it. What do you think about the Timberwolves now?
They're obviously much happier, but like it's hard to evaluate something just like that.
I feel like the Timberwolves have reset. I almost feel like they've adopted the process
a little bit
in the same spot. Like they didn't start over the process because they sucked for a long time. They went through their own process.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they took over the stage in the process that Philly was in last year.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now it's like, okay.
Like we can still wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we're
keep
projecting
rising. Just keep
upwards.
rising.
Like, yeah, I can agree with that. And obviously fucking Jimmy Butler didn't fit there. And I think that Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins are going to play a lot better because he's not there.
I mean, yeah, I think mentally, yes. And I think more than anything else, just the touches. Like Andrew Wiggins is a gunner. He's a guy who he scores by shooting a lot.
But
Cat just needs more touches. He needs to assert himself more often.
I mean, I also don't think that like the Timberwolves are out of any hole though. I don't think
they'll make the playoffs. And even if they do, it'll be a low seed.
But also, like, what the fuck is going to happen with Tom Thibodeau? If I were a GM, I'd be kind of pissed off at like what
I would have moved on from Tom Thibodeau already.
Right.
Personally.
I mean,
I wouldn't have ever hired Tom Thibodeau.
True.
I don't think the way that he overworks his starters, and I don't think he's really, has a grasp of the modern sort of pace of the NBA that you need, the way offenses work now. He's obviously historically a very good defensive coach, but it hasn't shown on this Timberwolves team at all. Their defense isn't really any good. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that comes down to effort or what,
or maybe he just had the right personnel at the right time.
Exactly. I think I've mentioned before that I think like a guy like Steve Kerr would be a perfect coach for this team.
The players coach.
Yeah.
Right.
A player. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens with both teams down as we go now. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit. I don't want to say bummed that's where Jimmy ended up. I kind of wish that he went like somewhere that wasn't already good, like really good,
like Miami.
He
was supposed to go to Miami.
Maybe Miami, but I'm too selfish to give up anything to get him for Miami just because I love the dudes on the team so much. But like the Clippers for me was like, I wish he'd go to the Clippers because that'd just be weird. Mm-hmm. Be really interesting. But yeah. You have any other
basketball? He still potentially could go to the Clippers.
That's true. He could go anywhere next year. Obviously, Philly can offer him the most money. Right. But he could go anywhere he wants next year. You got more basketball stuff? You got any more Duke talk you want to have or anything?
Yeah, I want to talk about Duke.
We're probably going to have like a weekly Duke alert.
Yeah.
How many dunks did Zion get this week?
So since the first game that Duke played against Kentucky, they have played 2 games. I had only watched
Army?
1. They played Army, and I forgot who they played in their third game. But in their game versus Army, they did not look as impressive. I know that you didn't watch it, and we were literally joking about how like they were just going to blow out Army, so why even watch?
Yeah.
I'm really glad that I did watch them against Army. Hey,
they're just
even
fun to
if they beat a team by 40 points, they're fun to watch. So
Yeah.
who gives a shit? But also like I feel like I got a better feel for how they can be bad because they didn't play bad at all against Kentucky. Like,
No, they were amazing.
There was no flaws.
Yeah.
Like they just played a perfect game, and you saw that it was their coming out party, and they did. There was no problems there. Now against Army, they played against Army on Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Right. Army does not have any superstars really, fucking at all.
No.
But they're a very disciplined team. So like kind of like on the polar opposite.
Okay.
Of what Duke is. Duke does not run a lot of plays. They kind of rely a lot on just the athleticism and the superstardom of their personnel.
Army is very college basketball historically. They run a lot of half court sets.
Yeah.
They rely on veterans over young guys. It's what the majority of college basketball is, just not at the biggest schools.
And in the first half, I think, so at halftime at that game, I think Duke was only winning by like 8 or 9 points. And the only player that really looked impressive still was Zion.
Yeah.
RJ was struggling. I think Cam didn't shoot the ball as much. They were turning the ball over a lot more than they did.
Probably
going to
be their downfalls if they turn the ball over a lot.
Well, they turned the ball over a lot more, and plus they didn't cause as many turnovers. One of the things that was like so fucked up about that Kentucky game was how many turnovers they were causing. And obviously, if you turn over the ball against Duke,
game over, man.
Good luck.
Yep.
Good luck. Because they're going to fuck you in transition.
Got weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, so Zion had like 21 points in the first half.
This is in the Army game.
This is in the Army game. Reddish had like 11 on like 4 of 14 shots, so he was not efficient at all. Barrett had 8 points on 3 of 10 shots.
He just wasn't shooting well.
And it didn't seem like they were making a lot of effort plays either. And there was a lot of like disjointed play from their defense. It didn't seem like they were covering the pick and rolls really well, like just like really simple shit like that. I think right when I turned on the game, it was like maybe like 4 or 5 minutes in. And as soon as I turned it on, RJ Barrett was getting beat by one of the Army players in a backdoor cut. I was like, okay, like there's some flaws here.
Well, I mean, do you think that they're gonna have, they're gonna get the best shot out of every scrub team they play? But are they gonna be the type of team that cares enough about trying hard all the time because they know they can just lean on being great to beat these teams?
True. And how are they going to face adversity? Is the thing.
Like when they get to conference play and they have to play a bunch of ACC teams that are all pretty good, are they going to be basically what we have to wait and see with them is, are they going to be a team who can be historically great and go undefeated?
True.
Or are they going to be like super talented that kind of coast their way to the tournament and then we see what they're made of?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting seeing how they overcome adversity. They're obviously at a disadvantage when it comes to camaraderie. Like they all get along really well, and it seems like they're all team
in terms
players.
of time spent together.
But as far as time spent together, like they're all freshmen.
Yeah,
they're all playing together for the first, at least as far as the starters go.
Yeah,
they're all playing together for the first time this year, and how well are they going to play as a team? Is the thing. When they're not getting turnovers and they're not getting out in transition, and a team like Virginia
I was going to say Virginia, when they play really teams that are very deliberate and teams that defend very aggressively and very soundly in terms of their technique and their knowledge.
But the second half they picked it up a lot more. Cam Reddish finished. Hold on. Cam Reddish finished with 7 of 13 from 3.
Oh, wow.
So like
He went nuts in the second half.
He literally didn't miss. And then RJ finished with 23 points. Fucking Zion had 27.
So Zion actually didn't score much in the second half, but he probably didn't have to.
No.
And I'm guessing if you looked at his full stat line, he probably was pretty rounded in all areas.
Yeah, I think
rebounds, assists.
I think he finished with like 27 points, 16 rebounds, and a shit ton of assists too. He played a really good game.
He is just in terms of hype, kind of being built up as the number one guy now.
Mm-hmm. He's being compared to LeBron.
Yeah,
a lot of people are comparing him to LeBron.
I think it's because of the generational athleticism. That is what LeBron was too.
But it's not just that, but along with the hype as well. Because LeBron had a lot of hype.
But I think the reason that it's catching hold and people are like, well, maybe there could be something LeBron-esque about him, is because he's showing a much more well-rounded game than anyone expected. Mm-hmm. People thought he'd just come in and he'd be a freak athlete who would dunk on people. Mm-hmm. He's way more than that. So
he's more skilled.
He's showing much more than that as a player. Mm-hmm. Whenever their next big game is, I'm sure we'll watch it. Mm-hmm. You might watch other random games. Yeah. And you can always tune in for Chris's weekly Duke Corner.
That's all I wanted to talk about.
You want to talk about UFC a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I wasn't expecting to watch any UFC this past week. While we wait for the Holloway card to come up, I really wasn't expecting to watch any UFC at all. But we were just chilling on Saturday night, and I realized that Cowboy was going to be fighting Donald Cerrone. So I threw the card on, and I completely had forgotten about the storyline of that fight. So Cowboy was fighting Mike Perry, and there was all this drama about Mike Perry coming into the camp that Cowboy had been with his whole career, basically, and then Winkle John basically telling Cowboy to leave. And Cowboy got real mad about it. He went on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he let his feelings be known. He didn't really hold anything back. He talked a lot of crap about those guys. Talked about how bad he wanted to beat Mike Perry because of it. And he didn't really have anything negative about Mike Perry as a person. It was just kind of like, that was my place, and you came in, and they chose you over me, kind of thing. And it was more Winklejohn than it was Greg Jackson. From what I gathered from the interview I watched, he seemed like he hated Winklejohn, and that he was just kind of sad about what happened with Greg Jackson.
Right.
Because he's always been with Greg Jackson his whole career. Then he rolled out there, and he showed out. Donald looked great. Mm-hmm. He looked great. He's weird. Donald's Cowboy's one of those dudes who he'll fight 3 fights in a row where it's like he's pretty good. He wins 2 of them, loses 1, right. He gets knocked out or something, and then he shows up for another fight, and he looks world class, unbeatable.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, he's like one of those. He will vacillate between like sort of being that journeyman fighter and being someone who looks like a fucking world beater.
Yeah, and we have to mention part of it is he fights so much. Mm-hmm. He fights more than anybody. Mm-hmm. He fights like almost every 2 months, maybe.
Right.
And I think we should point out with this win over Mike Perry, he submitted Mike Perry in a that shot was really cool of him squeezing on that. Was it a triangle? If I remember.
I don't remember.
I think it was a triangle, or an armbar. He became the winningest fighter in UFC history, and he has the most finishes in UFC history, which is crazy for a dude who has never had a belt. Mm-hmm. Cowboy's going to be a Hall of Famer no matter what. But I like what he said. A few of the things he said after. I was really kind of moved by him talking about his son afterward, and how that kind of he never knew why he was fighting, and now he knows why. I thought that was kind of cool. And then he was like, I'm moving back down to 55.
Side note, his son is named Danger.
His son's name is Danger. Yeah, his son's name is Danger. Yeah, and he was wearing that badass motherfucker belt. Little baby badass motherfucker belt. Yeah. And he said he wants to move down to 55 and make a run for the title down there. And have you heard about the rumor for his first fight?
No. I don't think so.
Conor.
Really?
Yeah. Because he hinted at having a name. And then he tweeted something a few days ago where he was like, he put a picture of him and Conor, and he was like, let's make it happen. So he's trying to get that Conor fight to go down. Okay. The problem with that is we don't know when Conor's going to be allowed to fight again. So he might have to fight somebody else before that or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'd be super down to watch them fight.
I would be super down. And also, like, Conor McGregor is kind of like the hot girl at the dance. Everybody wants
a piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because even when he like loses to Khabib, it doesn't matter. Like he's just such a draw that people want to fight him.
Yeah.
They know that's how they make that money.
Yeah.
But to me, Cowboy is the perfect reason to make a 165-pound division.
Yeah.
He's been really good since he moved up to 170, but he's a little undersized. And at 155, it just seems like a tough cut, and it depletes him. I feel like at 165, he could really go. He might be able to finally attain that belt that's always eluded him. And I would. He's one of those dudes I would love to see him get a belt.
Right.
The other fight on the card was Korean Zombie. I don't know his real name. Sung Jung something, I think. The Korean Zombie fought Yair Rodriguez. If you guys don't know who either of them are, Korean Zombie he's been around for a long time, but he was out of the UFC for like 3 or 4 years because in South Korea, you have mandatory military service. So he couldn't fight while he was in the military in South Korea. Yair was like a young phenom who sort of got beat a couple times and was almost out of the UFC. And he's gone through this kind of tough journey of settling into the life of a fighter, you know.
But he's someone so intriguing.
But his fighting style is just nuts.
It's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because Yair's Mexican, right?
Yes, he's from Mexico.
But he comes from this Mexican Taekwondo school, and he is known for throwing these crazy ass kicks,
Nuts kicks,
which he threw a bunch of them. In
and
this
he's
Korean
super
Zombie
athletic, very fast.
Yeah. But
in his own right,
skilled.
the Korean Zombie is also insanely fun to watch. He's the type of dude who just you hit him and he just keeps coming at you.
He's called Korean
There's a
Zombie,
reason he's called the Zombie.
And he's notable for having really crazy fights and really entertaining fights.
Very fun. He's won a bunch of post-fight bonuses and stuff. This fight was amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible.
It's a fight of the year contender.
Right.
And one of the best finishes I've ever seen.
And it set the record for
latest stoppage ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least knockout, maybe not.
So it was
literally
1 second left in the fight of a 5-round fight.
5-round fight. He landed. What do you even call it?
I would say that it was a backwards
upwards
uppercut with your elbow.
With your elbow. Yeah, and he put Zombie to sleep. Oh, man, it was just insanely fun to watch.
Yeah.
I don't really know what the rankings are like in that division. I don't know what how it's going to shake up any title pictures or anything like that. But I know that when those two dudes are on cards, I want to watch. I want to watch the fights.
Yair is somebody who, like, when I see him fight, I imagine, like, okay, is there going to be a time in the UFC when you have a guy like Yair who also has the wrestling of Khabib? Yeah, of Khabib.
That'd be disgusting.
At what point?
When does that
are we going to have that
fighter? Yeah.
Or is it even possible? Is it possible to pack that much skill into a person?
Can you work
the
that
amount
hard at
of
that
time
many different disciplines?
Yeah.
In that amount of time. Yeah.
Necessary to be at your physical prime, but also have all of these.
By the
skills.
time you're 30,
I don't know
can you
if
master that many different skills?
I don't know if it can happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because like it's hard to have that just period with one skill.
Yeah.
Because you can.
And when you're like Yair, you're not only relying on having the skill and the technique, but the natural gift of athleticism that he has on top of it.
Of athleticism, of
he's so explosive.
Flexibility is another one.
Yeah.
Just having the physical assets as well. Yeah.
Perfect storm. Of a fighter, that'd be terrifying.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like physically possible.
Yeah.
I don't.
And I think there's even a weight limit to, like, when you reach a certain, like, maybe when you're like a middleweight, I don't think guys can move the way that Yair can move at that weight. And as you get bigger, it becomes less and less guys that can do the spinning kind of kicks that he does and the amount of speed that he does them with. It'd be really unique. Someone that could combine all that. There was one other. Oh, there was a fight announcement that I don't know if you saw. A Korean Zombie's name is Chan Sung-jung. I had it on here.
There you go.
There you go. His real name. Did you see that Nick Diaz is in talks to finally come back?
Okay. Yeah.
Fighting Jorge Masvidal? be pretty dope.
Yeah. They're both just so fucking scrappy, you know. Yeah, I like them both. I think it's a good fight. I think it'll be super fun.
I just want Nick back.
Yeah,
Been gone for too long.
yeah.
For weed or something stupid. Free the Diaz bros. Well, Nate just won't fight anybody. Keeps waiting for that like perfect fight. Well, wait, he's fighting. He's scheduled, isn't he? We talked about it.
I don't.
Dustin
Poirier. But is that scheduled?
Dustin Poirier got hurt, so I don't know what's happening now.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's super cool that Nick's coming back. Or hopefully. It's not signed yet, but hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much all I've got. Do you want to jump into shout-outs?
Yeah, let's do it.
You go first.
All right, my shout out for this week is a YouTube channel that I really like. They do video essays on film and television and writing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's called Lessons from the Screenplay.
From the screenplay.
Yeah, Lessons from the Screenplay. Yeah, it's basically just video essays about writing movies. If you write screenplays, you write anything for a visual medium. It's really informative, really cool, just really well done.
They're the channel that simultaneously shows the script on screen with the scene playing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But the main guy that runs it and narrates it is super well informed about dramatic theory, and analyzes things really well. If I could recommend one video to watch, he has a video on there for The Dark Knight.
Okay.
And analyzing why the Joker is such a good
dope
antagonist. Yeah, so I would recommend that. Lessons from the screenplay.
All right. So I was thinking about my shout outs and I was like, maybe I'll do this one this week. And I mentioned earlier that I revisited this thing in one day. My shout out is a web show, essentially, a TV show done via YouTube called Video Game High School.
Mm-hmm.
Video Game High School is weird as hell. It's a very strange sense of humor, very goofy show. It is about a high school where people play video games. It's set in like it's not concrete, but it seems like it's set in like a hypothetical near future. Like there's like a hover bike.
Right.
But they don't really ever explain anything. And video games to a comedic level are the most important thing in the world. Like they do, there's like bits where the news will be playing and they'll be like, the president is missing. And then they'll interrupt it with a show called The Pwn Zone to talk about like a kill streak that's going on. So there's like this goofy over the top idea of how important video games are in the world. And this is like an elite high school called Video Game High School where kids go to become professionals eventually. And the main character gets into this school through kind of by accident. He kills like the number one ranked player at the school by accident, basically, and gets into the school like on a scholarship. It can be viewed. It's on Netflix and it's on the Rocket Jump YouTube channel. It was originally just on YouTube, and then Netflix has it. But Netflix has it. You can watch all of season 1 as a movie. So season 1 is 9 episodes that are like 10 to 20 minutes each, something like that, and you can watch it as a movie. It's on Netflix as Video Game High School the movie.
Oh, okay.
And then they also have Video Game High School the show on Netflix, which has all 3 seasons. So you can either watch the movie first or just watch season 1. They're the same thing. Season 2 and 3 are both 6 episodes, about 30 minutes each. So it's very palatable. It's super easy to watch, very quick to consume. Really like just, it's a very easygoing kind of thing to watch. The thing that really separates it for me, outside of being a fun idea, the Video High School idea being fun and the goofy sense of humor, is the characters are way better than I think that they had the right to be in such like a silly show, and kind of when it came from and where it came from. They
did more than they had to.
Well, yeah, like I think they set out to make a great show, and I think they succeeded at it. But it was made in 2012. I think season 1 came out, so it was like right as like internet was really like internet in terms of distribution was really taking off.
Right.
So Rocket Jump, and the guy that is kind of like the face of Rocket Jump, Freddie Wong, was kind of he had this really clear sight of what could be, and they kind of jumped on it early. Season 2 and 3, I think, were both crowdfunded, and Rocket Jump as a YouTube channel is kind of famous for their videos they made for special effects. They just do really cool special effects videos.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the cool things they do in the show is whenever we're watching our characters play video games, we don't just watch them like at the computer. They go into full scenes of them, if they're playing a first person shooter, they're dressed in the camos, they've got the guns, they have sets for everything. They do first person shooter games, they do like racing games where they have actual car races scenes. They'll do like, massive multi online games where like, one of the characters dressed like a knight and another one's dressed like a wizard and they're walking around. They do all these different things as a cool way of showing the video game stuff. But I think the biggest thing is just the main characters, I think, are really well done, and the chemistry between them is really great, especially the two leads, Justin Blaylock and Johanna Brady, who's actually ended up being, she's like the only one who's been in stuff. She was in like Quantico with Priyanka Chopra, and she's been in like real TV shows since then. But they got married in real life during the show, so their chemistry is like super strong with each other. And I would the last thing I kind of want to point out from it is something that revisiting it, I didn't remember. And I was like crying yesterday watching this shit. Is one of the best episodes of a TV show I've ever seen. I think it's episode 3 or 4 of the last season. It's called Video Game Homeschool is the name of the episode. And it comes at a time when all of their relationships are at a head, and they're all kind of mad at each other for different reasons, and normal high school show stuff, and they're all kind of upset at each other, and they all end up being in the same place when one of the main characters' dads dies. So they do this really interesting case study on dealing with grief while simultaneously all of our characters are dealing with their emotions with each other. And I had forgotten the episode. I just didn't I remembered like it started and I was like, oh, this is the episode where the dad dies. I remember that. I did not remember how powerful it was and how emotional it was and how good the acting in it was. I was literally crying watching it. I was like blown away. So yeah, my shout out is Video Game High School. Find it on YouTube at the Rocket Jump YouTube channel or on Netflix. Yours YouTube channel, Lessons from the Screenplay.
Yep. Find us on our social medias. Find Chris, chrismichaelstott.com for his website, or Chris Michael Stott on Instagram. Find me at Davinwell25 on Twitter or Instagram. Find the show at tcakspod on Twitter. The Chris and Kyle Show on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. All wonderful podcasting platforms for your audio needs. Like, subscribe, rate, share, all that kind of fun stuff. Check out the poll, which will be closing as of airing today. Or next week? Wait.
Yeah. No, next Monday. I lied. Okay. Next month. So you have a week left to get onto the poll to pick our last spoiler episode of the month. Mm-hmm. And there's some clips rolling around out there now. If you haven't listened through every episode or anything, you want to visit some of the just kind of general topics we're kind of putting clips out for. Yeah. You can check those out. Other than that, I think... Do you have any? Yeah, I was going to say, look forward to guest episodes. We're going to be releasing those. We finally recorded one, so look, next month we'll probably start recording them. We have another one scheduled, too. I would say that we out. We out. Stay weird. Excelsior.